Welcome back, everybody, to another CRN broadcast here tonight with the NSR Retro Cup series here tonight. I'm joined by none other than Mr. Caleb Collins, as Mr. Ricky Gonzalez is actually out there at Talladega here tonight, so he's not going to be able to be in the booth with me here, but I have another good friend, and that's going to be Mr. Caleb Collins. Caleb, how are you doing here tonight?
I'm good, Dylan. Looking forward to some exciting racing at the Rock here tonight.
Oh, yeah, definitely going to be something fun to do. As you know, it's going to be a full distance race here tonight. We do have our Grand Marshal in here tonight as well. That's going to be the Mr. Lyle Mitchell. We weren't able to get you in here for Daytona, but now we get to do the Rockingham course here tonight. It's under a mile. 100% league, or 100% is the distance, looking about 400 laps. So definitely going to be something good here tonight to watch here on CRN. Running a little bit late, so kind of mind-boggling on my words here tonight, but nonetheless, we are joined now by Mr. Lyle Mitchell, as he's going to give us our starting command for these drivers to start their engines once they start gridding up.
Dylan, I got bad news for you.
Oh no, what happened?
There's no, it's next week for the Grand Marshal. We took this week off because of the short track.
Oh, well then I guess we'll just go ahead and put you back up there with your fellow drivers that you were hanging out with. But at least I thought about you this time there, Lyle. You know, I thought about it. It didn't happen. But nonetheless, it looks like qualifying is over, so we're going to go ahead and get these qualifying results posted up here for you momentarily as I bring these up really quick. And it's going to be Daniel Molnick's P number 1, Alexander Encarnacio, rounding out your front row. Robert Lawrence in third, Jacob Kaplan in fourth, Brian Whitney in fifth, Justin Cope in sixth, Mark Sakochi in seventh, Nick Cannon in eighth, Brian Wiggins in ninth, Mark the Muffin Man Thomas in 10th, Stody Benfield starting P number 11, Kyle Merkel in 12th, Shane Wilden in 13th, Dan Ross in 14th, Andy Reeves in 15th, and James Marcotte in 16th. In 17th will be John Thompson, in rounding out your 18th and 19th positions. Setting no qualifying time here tonight. That's going to be last week's winner of Johnny Taylor in 18th, and Matty D. Clark starting shotgun on the field here tonight. Again, it is a super long race here tonight, Caleb, and I don't know about you, but are you ready to see some high-flying action? I know I am. It's one of my favorite race tracks. As you know, me and you, we go way back in the Core Racing League, and if there's any track that I could just absolutely win at as much as I possibly could, it would be Rockingham.
Yeah, Rockingham is always a ton of fun. Holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts, and I can't wait to see all these old throwback paint schemes on track for a full-length race here. It's a real grind. I mean, you know how tight this racetrack is, and it is really, really easy, especially once those tires start to wear. It's so easy to slide up and smack that outside wall, and she's not very forgiving here. The Rock has its name for a reason, and once you take some damage, it's going to be a long day for you for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Keep a clean car in this one.
Oh yeah, definitely going to be a long day here. You know, me personally, we've only got to run the 87s on Rockingham for Core, so it's a little bit different with these Gen 4 cars. As I was watching a little bit of practice, and a lot of drivers out here were losing the rear end coming out of the corner or getting into the corner. So braking is going to be something different here as it looks like pace lights are off, so we're not even going to get another lap around here. We're going to go straight to the action. I'm going to go ahead and park it up here by Barney the flagman. He is wide awake. He's got the green flag in his hand. These drivers can't go until they get into that restart zone, and Barney starts waving the green flag. And we are set for 393 laps here tonight. For the first time at Rockingham this season, we are back to racing here for the National Sim Racing Retro Cup Series. And look at that, already you can see everybody getting up through the gears, getting a little bit loose.
I love it. These cars are such a handful. Fresh tires, and already we're seeing tires spinning on the first start of the race here. This is going to be an exciting one.
Yeah, you see them all double file, everybody trying to get away from everybody as much as they possibly can, just not able to, find the rhythm on that first lap or two, as you still have the cold tire effect, as you see there. And Alexander Encarnacio was able to take the lead away from the number 2 of Daniel Molnick's. Going to go ahead back here with the number 8 of Mark Sikochi. He's under battle from the number 5 Cheez-It machine of Brian Wiggins.
And Dylan, already I'm seeing guys that are doing a pretty good job, at least so far, of pacing themselves. The fast line around this track, it seems like usually is to kind of diamond the corner, and as soon as I say that, we've got a caution.
Yeah,
but for the most part, we've got a lot of guys kind of running down low and trying to avoid that wall so far, trying to pace themselves. Not sure what this caution is for, though.
Yeah, looking back at it here, it's going to involve the number 1 of John Thompson. Oh, he gets... I just hit the live button. We're going to go ahead and go back here. Went to go hit the slow-mo, and yeah, it looked like the 43 just checked up just a little bit too much there, or too early. The 1 getting collected. The 48's going to get collected. The 40 misses it, but last week's winner, Johnny Taylor, he is going to be collected as well. And the 6, he's got nowhere to go either. So a lot of heavy hitters taken out in that first couple lap incident here. We're going to go ahead and go back to the live scene and just see how bad the damage is on that number 3 machine.
Yeah, it looked like John Thompson maybe just didn't expect the 43 to check up as much as he did. Maybe the 43 was just kind of pacing himself a little bit more for going into that corner. Maybe he was a little bit higher than he wanted to be, but it looked like Thompson just didn't think he was going to be checking up that early.
Yeah, and, with the Rockingham and how much it eats tires, it's definitely going to be something different, especially in the 87s. You want to back up that corner. Now, with the 87s, it's a little bit different. They have Brillo pads for brake pads. So you got to pretty much start hitting your brakes at the start-finish line just to get the car to slow down enough just to make the corner. And the same goes for turn 3 and 4. It is a tire shredding track. You're going to see these drivers take the opportunity to go down pit road, take as much fuel as they can. I believe they have unlimited tire sets here tonight, so you don't have to worry about tires. So are you really gaining anything, or are you losing anything this early in the race? I say no. It's still a long way to go. We're 5 laps in out of this 393 lap race. I would have more than likely went into pit lane, serviced up my car, got some more fuel, got some 4 fresh Goodyears on it, and made my way back out.
Yeah, it really, a lot of it comes down to how much do you trust the guys around you. You were talking about start of the race while they were gridding up. Johnny Taylor didn't get that qualifying lap in, and you see what happened there, kind of back there in the hornet's nest, and got caught up in somebody else's accident. If you're concerned that there's going to be another caution here pretty soon, yeah, I wouldn't fault you for, if you're up towards the front of the pack, just staying out. But if you're back there kind of in the middle, yeah, why not come down, top off with fuel? You never know when that's going to come in handy, and just pace yourself. It's going to be a long race tonight for sure.
Yeah, it's super long race tonight here, as it looks like Alexander Encarnacio elected to take the inside. Looks like Barney's got the green flag up in the air. Pace cars are going to take that hard right down into pit lane. And we are about to be back to racing here at Rockingham. Hello, the 2. Big check up by the number 2 machine. He's going to drop 3-4 positions as he's going to go from second to fifth just off that one bad restart there, as Robert Lawrence was able to squeak by him and not get him injured in that little bit of a move by the number 2.
And I think Molnick spun his tires on that initial start as well. It turns out great for Encarnacio. He's got himself a huge lead now. That start couldn't have gone much better for that old 35 Tabasco car.
Yeah, he's trying to do what he possibly can. Oh, the 0-1.
On a sideways. He saved it.
The 0-1 sideways coming off the corner. Muffin Man getting a little bit of the wall, and he got a little bit loose as well, but able to keep the car underneath of him as we are back under another yellow. As if I would have to guess, it would probably be the number 0-1, as we're going to go ahead and take a quick little look here. See exactly what happened to the number 0-1. Pause it really quick.
Looks like he maybe just got a little piece of that apron, maybe. Trying to get a little too low on track. I'm impressed with the save, though. It brought out the caution, of course, but man, really heads-up job to save that thing. That inside wall comes up on you really quick coming onto the backstretch when you're spinning off a 2 like that.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. You can see here in the replay, he's already loose before he even gets to the inside lane, and it just looks like he was trying to do a little bit of a up and down, down and up type move going through the corner, but nonetheless able to keep it straight. Now let's see if he hits the inside wall, and he doesn't. So got to put this out there. That save right there looked like my save last night in the MSRL Cup Series, as I went across, I don't know, 4 or 5 people's noses coming, yeah.
Also enough to bring out the caution flag in that case too, but a little bit less room. Unfortunately, that Rockingham wall is a little bit tighter than the wall at Talladega.
Yeah. Kind of glad I had that extra 500 feet of runoff space going down the backstretch. But nonetheless, everybody's going to be side by side, probably next time by, as it is Alexander Encarnacio still with the race lead here tonight. And I think instead of doing the Barney starter cam, I think we're going to ride on the the rear chase of the number 35, just to see who all is really getting the bad wheel spin onto the next restart.
Yeah, not a bad idea. That 35 has been, at the risk of giving Alex a broadcaster's curse here, he's been restarting really well here. So look for him to do the same on this restart. Seems like he's got it pretty well dialed right now. Yeah,
he definitely did not, actually the first restart that they had, he was a little bit too wiggly wobbly there on the initial start, but that's when you got to realize, okay, I know what to do on the next restart, and he timed it perfect. No wheel spin from the number 35, able to keep it straight. It was able to go up and through the gears a little bit better than pretty much the whole field, and that warranted him a, maybe 1.5 to 2 second lead, and then we had that extra little bit of a caution there. But, got to say it, as, Ricky's favorite car is in P number 2 right now. Jacob Kaplan, the Petty Enterprise, number 44, sitting P number 2. He had the speed at Daytona last week, just fell just a little bit short, but look at him now, that Petty Enterprise car back up here to P number 2, as he is up 2 positions from where he started. So good job and good racing by that number 44.
Always good to see the Hot Wheels car up front. It just feels right, doesn't it? Hot Wheels car, they should be running up front.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Cody Mitchell's got the Hot Wheels car. Jacob Kaplan's got it. So, nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and turn the camera angle back around on the number 35 here. And we're going to see just who gets all the wheel spin coming to the restart. And I think maybe the outside is where you don't want to be on these restarts, but I could be wrong.
It sure seemed like that thus far. We'll see on this one.
Coming to take the green flag, and there it is. And just look at the gap that he's able to pull. Already, oh, he got loose going into the corner, as it looks like the number 28 of Justin Cope. He's trying to put his hat, or his name in the hat up here, as Matty D. Clark at that number 31. Haven't talked about him here tonight. He's going to be on the inside of that number 8 machine of Mark Sakochi. Move Matty D. Clark up 9 position from where he has started.
Yeah, and that's kind of what this race is going to be all about, is slow and steady, marching towards the front, keeping that car clean. Keep your nose on it. Keep all 4 corners on it. You're going to need it. See some side-by-side racing back there with the 2, Molnix and Nick Cannon over there in the 01. Nick Cannon, nice recovery after saving that car. He's still got a top 10 position right there. And I'll tell you what, I'm keeping my eyes on Brian Wiggins. He's got my favorite car in the pack there, a little Labonte throwback in that 5-car. Cheez-Its. I could go for some Cheez-Its right now. Dylan, did you bring me some Cheez-Its for this broadcast?
You know, Caleb, I did not. Best I can give you is
slacking on the snack game, man.
Look. The best I can give you is semi-cold French fries from McDonald's with
Man,
some chicken nuggets. Okay.
that's pretty rough. I can't think of many things that sound less appetizing than cold French fries.
Yeah, tell me about it. it's just it happens. You know, hey, we're still out here. We're doing our best.
Problems, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, I don't carry the last name McDonald for nothing. If I go to McDonald's, I want them fresh fries.
Do you get royalties from that? You really should.
I actually don't. You know, and my uncle's name is Ronald McDonald, and we don't get nothing from it.
Yeah, that's just not right.
Yeah, it's definitely not right. But nonetheless, as we're taking a look at this number 5 of Brian Wiggins, your favorite car. Mine, I think, you know, I don't have a favorite car. I mean, they're all beautiful pace schemes. I just don't have a favorite car. None of these cars have really caught my attention here so far tonight, as we got a pass as Matty D. Clark using that inside on the number 5, going to wrap that yellow line and move Matty D. Clark up to P number 8.
So that'd be what? He's 10 positions up now. Is that right?
He's up 11 from where he has started. But don't look now. The last week's winner, Johnny Taylor, he got all that damage fixed. He's on the prowl back up here to the front as he's trying to make it worth his while. Robert Lawrence, another RCR guy, going down to the inside of the number 28. Justin Cope and Robert Lawrence side by side. Who's got the advantage? Give it to the number 07 as Robert Lawrence up to P number 3.
Yeah, and it looks like the 3 car is trying to follow his teammate there. Got a little tight on the inside of the 5. Trying to make that pass. Got some really good side-by-side action going on right now. Johnny Taylor and Brian Wiggins.
Looking at it right now, and yeah, I think right now where you want to be is on that inside, and you can see what it's doing as Johnny Taylor making quick and light work of that number 5 machine, able to get around him. Brian Wiggins, though, not going to let that number 3 machine get away from him too easily.
Yeah, and you see the 31 here now starting to work on the 01, Nick Cannon. Nick is still kind of staying on that high side a little bit, trying to diamond it out a little bit. Curious to see what that will wind up doing to his tires. Seems like that outside is usually a little bit harder on tires, but usually a little bit faster. I'm impressed that the bottom side has been as fast as it has been so far in this one.
Yeah, the outside, you know, it works. You don't want to be up there long run. You want to be up there short run. Get as much spots as you possibly can, and then, you know, go down to the bottom. As we're going to have a pass here. The number 3 going down to the inside of the number 31. And it looks like maybe Johnny Taylor might be able to get clear of Matty. No, he won't. Give the advantage to the 31.
Yeah, that high side still works for the run coming off of 2. Let's see if he gets a run off of 4 here. Nope, not enough. Move that 3 car up to P8. And still side by side here, Nick Cannon and the Muffin Man, Mark Thomas. And Dylan, you and I both know, as much as we've raced with Mark Thomas. Oh, and the 5 car is in the wall. 5 car nailed the inside there. Not sure what happened on that one.
Yeah, try to look and see if I can find it. Not able to find Mr. Brian Wiggins.
That was weird. That that looked like a disconnect, maybe some connection issues there. He just turns left into the wall and then disappeared on that one.
Yeah, he's not even on the pit road. He's not even in the race. So another bad night here for Mr. Brian Wiggins, as he's going to have to try to get back up here and see what he can do, as the 0-1 is in pit lane. So he's going to be the first one to go down pit lane, riding on board with the number 24 of Andy Reeves. And you can see he's got a little bit of a distance from that number 6 and the number 48. But back up here, there's a bigger battle going on with Mark the Muffin Man Thomas. As, look at that, 2 RCR cars against 1 Penske driver. And, oh, Matty Clark puts Mark Thomas in the wall. Not sure what happened there. Didn't mean to do it, as, you know, everybody just trying to get as much real estate as it can. And that car of that number 12, it looks pretty clean still.
Yeah, and I was just getting ready to talk about earlier, Mark Thomas is certainly a guy that we know is going to be in it on the long run. Does a great job of kind of like Harvick was called the closer for years in the Cup Series. He does a great job of being there when it counts. And I think you're right. That outside, it doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too beat up. I'm sure the driver's kind of hot inside the cockpit right now. But knowing Mark, he'll gather it up, take a deep breath, and he'll be right back in it here. And that's the nice thing about these Gen 4 cars. Hey, it's all just sheet metal. Grab a sledgehammer, pound it out. You'll be fine. Got some more side-by-side racing here. Looks like up ahead of Mark Thomas, 29 and 31. Those couple of RCR cars right now. Looks like Whitney's not quite ready to let Clark go. The 09 is trying to get in on this mix now. Merkel is just waiting for these guys to sort it out amongst themselves and see if he can pick up 1 or even 2 spots in the process. Maybe if one of those teammates drives in a little deep on the other one here.
Yeah, looking at it
Still
now, they are
side by
side by
side.
side. Yeah, they're still side by side. Brian Whitney last week at Daytona had a little bit of connection issues, was not able to
3
finish.
wide. Oh, they thought about it.
Yeah, that's something you don't want to do at
No,
the Rock.
Rockingham is a little tight quarters for 3 wide. You don't see that very often here.
As there's another man on the move, the number 3 machine of Johnny Taylor has went from the back to the front. Pretty much. He's up to P number 6. He's got the 44, the 2, and the 28 in his sights. Going to go low on the number 28 of Justin Cope. Look at him just right at that yellow line all the way around. Give P number 5. Oh, he's going to use the lap car of the 1 of John Thompson as a pick. Give that P number 5 to Johnny Taylor, as that played absolutely beautiful to Johnny Taylor's strategy there. Put him up top. Don't let him get around you. And now Johnny Taylor's got a windshield full of that number 44. And look at the defense move by the number 44 down to the inside. But that doesn't matter. Johnny Taylor can rip it wherever he puts it. Moving up to P number 4.
Yeah, 44 looked really slow there. Don't know if Kaplan just didn't get the run coming off of 2, and that kind of set him up to get passed by a couple of guys there, or what might have been going on. Looks like he's still at speed here. Got a good run off of 2, and now he's gaining back on the 28 again. So I think that 44 car is just fine. Probably just kind of got a bad run off of 2 and set him up. This is such a momentum track. You can really set up your passes a lap or 2 ahead of time On the flip side, though, somebody can do the same thing to you. And if you're in a bad spot coming off a 2 like that, you can find yourself backsliding for the next couple of laps as well.
Yeah, while we were watching all these battles out here on track, Robert Lawrence was able to get the lead off of Alexander Encarnacio, and he is checked out to a 1.5 second lead as Johnny Taylor on the prowl again, looking down to the inside of the number 2 machine of Daniel Mulnix. He's got the run. He's got the line. Can he make it happen down there on the inside? Did he burn him up getting through the field, as it's still going to give it to the number 2.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of a run the 2 gets off the corners here. That's the fast line to be sure, especially on exit of 2.
Oh, Alex Encarnacio loose as a goose coming out of the corner and all the way down the backstretch. He's going to lose a ton of time, and look at that. You got a 4-car battle for P number 2.
Now, what's the 3 do here? The 2 is going to go outside, 3 looking inside.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where we are at here on the track. If you look up there on the top right of the screen, you got the track map. You can see there's just a bunch of cars everywhere. And here's where another lap car comes into play, that number 99, as they're going to get around him 3 wide for that. And there goes Daniel Mulnix around the outside. Almost gets together with Alexander. So Daniel's going to take away P2, and Johnny's going to take away that 3rd position.
Tight quarters, man. I think the tires are starting to give up on that 35 car. He is not looking happy, and Encarnacio isn't inside of that Tabasco car right now. That Tabasco car is looking like the hot seat, you might say, at this point, Dylan. Oh, and he's in the wall a little bit there, too. That's not going to help matters. Doesn't look like he took too much damage there. A little scrape. Rockingham stripe, you might say.
Yeah, you got the Darlington stripe. You got the Rockingham stripe. Everybody has gotten the Rockingham stripe here, if they have ran this track. And, yeah, it does not look like Alexander is having any fun in his number 35. I think that might be one of the drivers hoping for a quick caution, as up front you have 2 RCR machines, the 07 and the number 3, rounding out the P1 and P2. Daniel Mulnix getting ready to get passed by the number 28. Daniel Mulnix has a little bit of damage on that right side. Not sure if he got a little bit loose coming out of the corner and smacked the wall with the right front. But they're still going to be side by side. Coming off turn number 4, give the advantage to the number 2.
Yeah, and I kind of like the position that 28 is putting himself in. Justin Cope riding that inside line like we were talking about. Just kind of taking it easy, but he's hanging out there in the top 5. He's still working on the 2. He'll try to get a run on exit of 4, you would think, here again, but not in a bad spot for this point in the race. Just trying to take them as they come. .35 car back up, not quite against the wall. Oh, but loose. So loose on exit, man. You can just see those back tires just wearing. That 35 car is not in a happy spot right now.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's definitely fighting some inner demons out here tonight. We know he's got the speed. It's just with Rockingham, position is everything at Rockingham. I know that for sure. You stuck in the back, you're pretty much going to be in the back the whole race. So, trying to bum rush your way through the field to get that track position is one way to do it. But then again, you got to look at the longevity of the run. As, now we're on a long run, and this is when that practice time comes into play. Did you do a long run? Did you do a 2-tire stop? Did you run the inside for a whole field run? Did you run the top for a whole field run? It's all those little bit of factors come into what you did during that practice session did they just work on their or their qualifying laps? Did they do this? Did they do that? So it's definitely going to be something fun here to watch. And Caleb, I think it's about time we mute our mics and turn up these engines and give these fans a little bit. You'll love to hear it.
Hey, these cars sound a lot prettier than you and I are, Dylan. Let's do it. All right.
All right, we are back here as we've had a caution. We're going to go ahead and go back and see what had happened. Not 100% sure.
Looked like the 09 tagged the 2. I think everybody gathered it up and saved it. 2 might have a little bit of damage in the left quarter there, but
Yeah, I definitely wasn't able to get it picked up on the SDK, so not sure what that was, but nonetheless, gonna go ahead and try to see if I can figure out why the SDK isn't popping up on your guys' side, and we'll be right back.
Cannon, Encarnacio, Nilgis, Wiggins are all out of the race now.
Oh man, all those drivers out of the race here so far tonight. As I'm not 100% sure what is going on, but nonetheless, we are back. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties with the SDK not showing up, but so far it is Robert Lawrence, your race leader, with Johnny Taylor in a second. And in third, you have Brian Whitney, the number 29 Reese Cookies machine. So you got top three RCR cars. And then Stody Benfield in the number 75. So you got three of the RCR cars up here in the top 6, 7, 8 position. 6.
Of course, over the course of a race this long, track is definitely going to do a lot of changing, but we saw what kind of a lead Robert Lawrence put on the rest of the field. Was lapping a bunch of cars, had like a 3-second lead for a good portion of that. Of course, Johnny Taylor marched back through the field, so it'll be interesting to see here. It looks like they're going green this time. Interesting to see what he does here on this restart.
I wonder if Robert Lawrence is going to count it down for his teammates there. Didn't look to see any counting down, but it looked like Stony Benfield had a little bit of restart issues there. Matty Clark had a checkup from getting in the back of him, but look at this. We got a 2-wide battle for the race lead, and Johnny Taylor, like a rocket, takes the race lead and has said, all right, bye-bye, see you later, and give this lap lead to the number 3 machine of Johnny Taylor.
Yeah, he didn't waste any time making that move. He was there was no, hey, let's race for a little while. It's just, nope. We'll see you guys. I'm going to take this lead now and run off. Good move.
Yeah, very good move here, as you know, he's on his way up through the front. He is up 17 positions from where he has started. Matty D. Clark up 15. So those are going to be your two biggest movers here on the night. The biggest loser is going to be the number 35, as he is 17 positions down from where he has started here tonight from that front row. But nonetheless, we are all still pretty much single file all the way through this pack, as we got 2 packs here on tonight. A little bit of a gap between both packs there. Barney having a good camera angle of that. I'm going to go ahead and get to the backstretch here. Watch all these drivers go down and around our beautiful camera setup there. And just like I said, you got 2 different packs. You got the front pack, then you got the last pack, and that started to break up into another pack.
Yeah, and already starting to see some comers and goers. Of course, I keep keeping an eye on the 35. Encarnacio came to the pits there before he disconnected, and so I'm kind of looking to see if he's going to hop back in with us or not. Lucas Nilgis out, like we were talking about. Nick Cannon is another guy we were watching earlier on in this race that's Looks like he's had the iRacing version of mechanical issues, which is probably some internet, some connection issues for some of these guys. But already starting to see Rockingham taking a few victims, and starting to see guys like Johnny Taylor, who is looking pretty good. At least he looked pretty good on that last long run, and showing that he's got the short run speed here too, for sure.
Yeah, he's got the short run speed so far. As we're going to go ahead and take a look back at the second pack, Kyle Merkel right behind the number 2 machine. And they're starting to pull away from that number 28 as we have a car slow down the backstretch. And, ooh, Jeff Gordon would not be proud of that one, as he's got heavy right side damage to that number 24. He's going to have to bring it down at pit lane, get that car serviced, and bring it back out, as he's actually not going to take it down pit lane. He said, screw it. All 4 tires are still upright. We're going for it. As Stody Benfield currently going to get passed by the number 49 of Dominic Bettini, as he's down on the inside. Stody still ramming that outside and making it work for him, but Dominic Bettini takes that position away.
Yeah, it looks like Reeves just looked like a single car spin on exit of 2. We know how loose the car gets back there. I'm sure it's, given the significant force of that impact and how the nose looks on that 24 car, she's not going to be feeling too good right now, but I guess Andy is probably thinking he's going to lose at least a few laps pitting right now. Going to try to just ride it out until the caution comes and see if he can fix the damage then.
Well, while we were watching all that happen, we have a RCR 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we have in 5th is Mark Sakochi, in that number DEI number 8, and then you got a Penske driver of Mark the Muffin Man Thomas back here in 6th. So a stout field here for the top runners, and got to give a big shout out to everybody that comes out and shows up to this magnificent league that CRN gets the showcase for these drivers. Got to give another big shout out to Michael Conti at EPI for making a setup every week for the Gen 4 cars. I know with Michael Conti running the Coke Series and, doing everything that he does for, like myself and Johnny Taylor, Matty D. Clark, Robert Lawrence, Brian Whitney, we're all EPI guys. And, Matty Clark, or Michael Conti, does what he can to help everybody out, especially Dustin Hall, Nick Ottinger, everybody over at EPI. So if you guys are looking for a league to get into, NSR is currently recruiting. It's 100% races, no fast repairs. So if you get heavy damage, you're going to be sitting in the pits for about 30 minutes. You're going to be able to come back out after that 30 minutes. But nonetheless, open setups you can find over on raceepi.com. Get a week-by-week setup over there, or be like Mark Muffin Man Thomas. He's making his own setups, and he's looking pretty darn good running top 6 here tonight.
Yeah, I'm always just so amazed by the guys that just make lap after lap after lap and just know how to turn all the dials just perfectly in the most minute little ways to make their setups fast. And here he is, talking about Mark Thomas running 6th behind this Childress train here, just holding his own, staying steady, running the bottom there, just kind of no nonsense, no frills, just hanging on here. We're still in the first quarter of this race, so just doing what he's got to do right now.
Yeah, doing exactly what he can do just to, be content on where he's running. That was a pretty cool shot there. You had the 31 down to the inside, Brian Whitney, the number 29 in the middle, and then you had Robert Lawrence all the way up on that high side. And it looked there, just by the camera angle, they were going to make it 3 wide, but they're going to stay 1 through 4 here tonight. And, it's definitely going to be something fun here to watch. 77 laps in, and we're only we're not even 40 minutes into this race, already clicked off quite a chunk of laps in that 40 minutes.
Yeah, and you can see the lead that this front group has stepped out to. And interesting to me that the 07, that huge lead he had to begin with, Lawrence still hasn't retaken the lead from Johnny Taylor. I don't know if he's just kind of pacing himself, just happy where he's running at right now. That's probably the case. Or if Taylor just has that much speed at this point that it doesn't really matter how hard Lawrence is trying. I'd be interested to see how the tires look at the end of this run.
Yeah, if I know Robert Lawrence, I've ran with him in other leagues, and me being an EPI development driver, I run with Johnny Taylor, Matty D. Clark, and all those EPI guys a lot. Robert Lawrence is one of those drivers that takes his time. He doesn't want to just, boom, all right, I got it. He's not like me. Okay, Caleb, I can say that because, we all know it's true.
At least you can admit it.
Yeah, we all know it's true. I just want to hurry up, get to the front, and see what I can do in clean air. I don't want to be in this dirty air. I already know what it's going to do. But no, Robert Lawrence will take his time and get through the racetrack as he needs to, as Tony Benfield almost gets in the back bumper of the number 49 there. That's going to open up the door for the number 2 of Daniel Mulnix. He's down to the inside of Stoney. He's going to be able to clear. Can Justin Cope clear? No, he got tight or maybe a little bit loose. You just seen that car go straight towards the outside wall. So move Daniel Mulnix back up here to P number 9.
Yeah, and that's what we were just talking about. Rockingham, if you have a bad lap, it usually transfers to the next lap. 49 checked up there a little bit faster than the 75 was expecting. Benfield wound up losing where he was looking to try to pass the 49. Wound up not only not passing the 49, lost another spot to the 2, almost lost a spot to the 28 there. Settled back in now. He's going to try to follow the 2 here for a little bit and see if he can't set up a pass on the 2.
Yeah, definitely going to be something fun here to watch. But while we have this nice green flag run, I want to thank all 486 subscribers that have followed CRN from start till where we are right now. Without you, ladies and gentlemen out there watching week in and week out, we wouldn't be where we are now. We wouldn't be able to do what we like to do as a hobby of myself, Carl Haydworth, Jimmy Covert, Ricky Gonzalez, Caleb Collins, John Nobinger. All those gentlemen put in the time and the effort and all the behind the scenes action that Jimmy Covert does behind closed doors for CRN. Without all of us, we couldn't be more happier. So thank you to everybody that has liked, shared, subscribed to CRN. Make sure, if you aren't already, make sure you do hit that subscribe button, as CRN has broadcasts coming up all throughout the week here, with either myself and Caleb Collins, by myself on Wednesday nights, and then you got Carl and Jimmy doing some other stuff with Mark Trisket Thomas, Muffin Man, I should say. So make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe, comment who your favorite racer is, who you're rooting for down in the comments. Let us know, and just make sure you hit those bell notifications to get every single notification that CRN has to offer.
And Dylan, watching Benfield and Mulnix again here. Benfield is going to try to get a run on the 2 car. Looks like they're going to run into Mark Thomas on the back stretch there. Not sure if Mark had a bad exit on 2 or what happened, but he's dropped back a couple spots now. Looks like the 75 and the 2 are both going to get by him.
Yeah, look at Mark Thomas out there on the outside. I think he's just lacking the straightaway speed that all these other gentlemen have here tonight. But nonetheless, still trying to fight. He's got the short run car. I think that's what he's hoping and banking on, is the short run speed of that number 12 machine. But Robert Lawrence and Johnny Taylor have checked out to a 2-second lead over the other 2 RCR drivers of Matty D. Clark and Brian Whitney.
Yeah, and you're talking about the short run speed. That's really interesting. I'd love to talk to Mark right now. He's a little busy, but yeah, just it didn't look like he hit the wall or anything. Looks like he's kept the car clean. Just I don't know if he's worn the tires off of that thing, or if, yeah, like you said, if he's got more downforce in it, and maybe at this point in the run his tires are worn enough that he's losing that long run speed. But he's settled back in here now, dropped from where he was running in 6th, settled back down in 11th as Bettini tries to pass him on the inside here.
Yeah, Bettini's looking to make that pass on the number 12 of Mark Thomas. And, Mark Thomas actually asked me how to run at Rockingham in the 87s. So maybe he's taking what he knows about the 87s and applying it to here. I know for me, for instance, let's say the next gens go to, what's a nice, I don't know, let's say here. Okay. I know in the 87s, you got to brake just after the start-finish line. In the next gens, you can run it in a little bit deeper just because they have a bigger brake pad. They got bigger everything. Bigger, better, badder. So, I'm going to have that mentality, okay, I have X amount of laps. I can do this amount of laps on a fuel run. What can I do to save tires for the long run and let all these drivers go by me and then burn their tires off of that car, and then later in the run you're going to see me come back up through the field. Mark has that mentality of, I just want to be able to finish. I don't want to push the car too hard in the early going. And that, I think, is what you're seeing here tonight with the number 12 machine. He's pushing a little bit, but then he's backing off, letting these drivers go, pushing a little bit harder, letting these drivers go again. So a little bit of cat and mouse coming from the number 12 machine.
Yeah, and definitely some interesting parallels between these Gen 4 cars and the 87s. I feel like suspension-wise, these Gen 4 cars are probably the most similar to the 87s of any oval car really on iRacing. Certainly, they get a whole lot looser, and in my opinion, they're a lot more fun to drive. But the fact that we have these Gen 4s now on iRacing is just something that all of these drivers are thankful for. I know you and I are thankful for it. They're a handful to drive, but they sure are a lot of fun. And these guys really, for the most part, are making it look so easy tonight that you really can't get an appreciation for. These are some of the hardest cars to drive on ovals on iRacing, period. They've just got so much horsepower and skinny little back tires that just love to burn up in like 5 laps.
Well, for me, I've never ran the Gen 4. I haven't even turned a lap in the Gen 4. I don't know why. I just haven't. I've just been kind of focusing primarily on the truck series and the next gens. But other than that, I don't really run a lot of the Gen 4 cars. So that's something that you've dabbled in a little bit here. And, with that being said, the number 8 machine of Mark Sikochi is starting to drop like a rock here. He's fixing to get passed by the number 28, and he's kind of boxed in. He has nowhere to go. The 09 is going to make it a 2-for-1 coming off the corner. He gets a little bit loose, but Mark Sikochi dropping all the way back down to P number 9.
Yeah, not the direction you want to be going, but certainly where we're at now, only 98 laps into this thing, not even, again, basically at the 1/4 point of the race. Better to find out that you're wearing the tires too hard at this point in the race than it will be later on. So yeah, Sikochi probably abused the tires a little bit here. He's finding that out the hard way right now. But there's a long, long way to go in this race. He's going to have plenty of time to adjust his driving style, maybe even adjust the brake bias a little bit to help himself out and learn how to keep this thing from burning that tire up quite so fast for the next few fuel runs here.
Yeah, definitely got to figure out what he can do to make his way back up here and find out a different way to save a little bit of tire there as he got a little bit tight coming up off the corner. That's going to allow the number 44, Jacob Kaplan, to capitalize on that mistake by the number 8 machine, and Jacob tried to get around him, not able to do so. They're going to be side by side going into turn number 3.
Yeah, and interesting to see again the line that Kaplan is running down there on the bottom. He's still keeping pace just fine though with the 8 car. And a lot of that, I'm sure, has to do with the tires on the 8 car right now. It's amazing. It's really a bad situation to be in when your tires are hot and worn out, because that makes the car handle so much worse, and then you have to drive it so much harder just to try to keep up, and so you're just wearing your tires more and more and more and heating them up more and more. It's a vicious cycle that I can guarantee Sikochi is not enjoying being stuck in right now.
Oh yeah, no, nobody's ever comfortable being in that position there, as it looks like Mark Thomas is getting ready to get passed by the number 24. Had a little bit of a mishap coming out of turn number 2. Maybe got a little bit loose, but nonetheless able to keep it straight, as we have a taker going down pit lane. That's going to be the number 6 of William Martin, our Daytona shootout winner. As him and John Thompson are the only 2 down to pit lane, as Johnny Taylor and it looks like Robert Lawrence have opened up a 7-second lead over 3rd and 4th, which is still going to be a top 4 of the RCR cars.
Yeah, looking pretty dominant right now. I know Lawrence didn't lead from the very beginning of this race, but he certainly led most of it up to that last caution, and then 3 taking the lead, and they have just been the class of the field so far in this one. I wonder how far they're going to lap before they wind up taking to the pits here. And this one looks like they're already up to 13th place, I think, right now.
Yeah, looking at it right now, it looks like Dan Ross is in 13th position. And Johnny Taylor already making the pass on the number 48. Oh, Robert Lawrence gets a little bit loose coming out of turn number 2. And now it's where your tires come into play. So 12 cars on the lead lap. Johnny Taylor coming up to the, I believe, Andy Reeves is in 15th position. So this is going to be another lap down for that number 24 machine, as he's just going to keep it high. Johnny Taylor's going to wrap that bottom. And, yeah, like you said, class of the field here tonight of that number 3 and the 07 of Robert Lawrence.
Yeah, now the interesting thing to see will be what their pit strategy is here, because as you get to where these tires are worn out, more cars are slipping and sliding all over the place. Rockingham, as we've discussed, is not a very forgiving track whatsoever. If you're going to see a caution, as stretched out as these cars are right now, this is probably going to be it. Looks like Matty D. Clark kind of scraped the wall a little bit, got himself a little Rockingham stripe on the outside on that right recorder there. Several guys doing that around the track at this point. Would not surprise me if we see a caution here pretty soon. So pitting early is certainly going to reward you if it cycles through, but if you do pit, you're probably going to lose at least a lap, maybe 2, and then if the caution comes out, you're going to be stuck in a bad spot for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be stuck in a bad spot. And look at that, faster pastor Stony Benfield up to P number 4. Where did Stony Benfield come from? He went, this man saved his tires, because look at the ground he is making up in through 1 and 2. He's going to be alongside that number 31, and the 31 is going to give it to him. So breaking up that RCR combo is that faster pastor number 75 of Stony Benfield, and now maybe he has what it takes to go run down these leaders. As looking at it right now, it is at 8.6 seconds. So does Stony Benfield have what it takes to track down the number 3 of Johnny Taylor in the 07 of Robert Lawrence?
Man, 8 seconds is a big gap. But if the pit cycle plays out here, whenever they do start pitting, and we don't have a caution lap anytime soon, and he continues to save tires the way he's been doing, certainly you could call him a dark horse at the very least here. He could be giving him a challenge by the end of this thing.
Yeah, I think Stony Bedfield has the long run capability. Is just Johnny Taylor and Robert Lawrence. Just all the RCR drivers have the all around setup. As looking back here, Matty Clark got passed by Brian Whitney. Now is going to get passed by the number 2 of Daniel Molnix. And Daniel Molnix, another driver, was there at the end. Just had a misfortunate wreck coming to about 5 laps to go, if that, at Daytona. Ruined his chances for the race win there last week. So Daniel Molnix trying to recuperate those points lost, as we got a taker on pit road. It's going to be the 31 of Matty D. Clark.
Yeah, not surprised to see him coming down a little early. Like I said, he was tapping the wall a little bit. Probably not very pleased with the handling of that car, but now I wonder if this is going to go ahead and kind of open up the floodgates. Everybody else is going to start pitting, because that 31 car is going to be making up all kinds of time here. The 6 car already, just having pitted a few laps ago, has already gained one of those laps back. Martin has. Now I think he'll be 3 laps down, but you're going to gain at least a couple seconds a lap, I would think, if you're that 31 car coming out of the pits now.
Yeah, 31 coming out of the pit lane. There are 3 drivers on a pit lane, the 43, the 8, and the 09, all electing to go down to pit lane. And, you hit the nail on the head. Fresh tires. How long do these leaders want to stay out and risk going, a couple laps down? Granted, Matty Clark 2 laps down, but in that 2 laps, he's able to get 1 lap back here, as Johnny Taylor is going to get passed by Matty D. Clark, as they now have the number 12. 12 slides up in front of Matty. Matty taking evasive maneuvers here in the 12s down into pit lane this time by.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Mark Thomas saw he was getting lapped there, said, all right, let's try to pit before the leader comes in, maybe make up a little bit of time. Nice thing, though, about where the 3 and the 07 are at right now, you built that 8-second lead, almost 9-second lead now. You can afford to give up probably a handful of laps before you have to pit, and you can still come out ahead of the guys that are pitting behind you. So, of course, speed is the solution to a whole myriad of problems. So I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny Taylor and Robert Lawrence stay out a little bit longer, just as a little bit of a safety net. Like I say, just in case that caution does come out, you make sure that you're not going to lose this race because of strategy. The guys behind you are going to have to try to beat you with strategy, and you've got a nice big gap already setting pretty where you're at. So no reason to push the envelope here for those 2 guys.
Yeah, you can see there, Johnny Taylor notices all these drivers coming up. He's going to run the outside now, and he's gotten away from that inside, going to run the outside, get those tires a little bit cooler. And I believe Robert Lawrence is doing the same thing. So let's see what Robert Lawrence does. He's going to be running mid to low. Going to have a slide up just a little bit. Now he's going to wrap the inside coming off the corner. So Robert Lawrence just out here logging laps along with Johnny Taylor, as it looks like maybe Robert Lawrence might come down to pit lane this time by. Nope, he's going to stay out another lap. Johnny Taylor's going to do the same, and here comes the number 44 of Jacob Kaplan coming around the inside of that number 07, almost gets up into the wall, as we have 2 more takers going down pit lane. That's going to be the 48 and the number 99. Oh, Robert Lawrence, super loose coming off 2.
Really loose. I wonder if he'll be looking to stop here pretty soon. The one that kind of intrigues me is Brian Whitney in the 29. You throw Daniel Molnix in the 2 and Stony Benfield in that category too. Justin Cope, probably 2 guys that have stayed out. And there comes the 29 to the pits. those are the guys that don't have a big cushion to work with, and cars that they were running around have already pitted. Of course, Matty D. Clark is going to be gaining all kinds of time on him at this point. Right now, where you're at, it's just kind of a gamble. How much time are you willing to lose to the guys that you were running around to have that safety net and know that if a caution flag does come out right now, you're not going to be a couple laps down? I would sure be looking at pitting at this point, but I'm not the crew chief. I don't have the calculator in front of me, and there's a very good reason for that.
Yeah, it looks like the 07 is going to come down this time by. That's going to leave Johnny Taylor, Stoney Benfield, Daniel Mulnix. Those are going to be their last three drivers not to come down to pit lane as Daniel Mulnix goes in at this time by. So Daniel Mulnix taking his time getting into pit lane. Justin Cope down at pit lane as well. So now it's only a matter of time. Johnny's got a big enough lead over the 75, and it just continues to grow. Already up to 9.6 seconds of a gap for our race leader to second place here at Rockingham.
Yeah, and Benfield is still staying out. I will say, of all the guys that I don't hate the strategy for, I really don't hate it for Benfield. He showed he can save tires over the long run and make up all kinds of time. Benfield maybe doesn't care as much, even if he gets shuffled back to 10th here on this pit strategy, because his tires are going to come in. He is going to make those positions back if he's patient enough. So I don't necessarily hate that for Benfield at this point, just because he seems like he's probably been the best of the field outside of maybe Johnny Taylor of saving tires up to this point.
Yeah,
I got the 48 inside of him there, so he'll have to well up quite a bit if he's planning to come to the pits this time around. I expect. Well, maybe he is down low. Nope, staying out again.
He's the only car that has not pit. He is taking this all the way to as much as he possibly can. Johnny Taylor already out of pit lane. He's going to drop down to P number 5. And it's definitely going to be a who's who battle here. You got Matty Clark. There he goes. Stoney Benfield into pit lane at this time by Matty Clark and Robert Lawrence, P2 and P3. Now they got to get around the number 48 machine. He's going to get up and into the wall. Goes the number 48 of Dan Ross. He's going to allow these two RCR cars to get around. And Stoney Benfield is going to have the freshest tires out of the whole field, stretching at least 3 to 4 laps longer than Johnny Taylor.
Yeah, that strategy is not going to look great initially right here. He's going to fall back quite a bit in the field, but I think it's really going to pay off in the long run. And on the flip side of that, you saw the lead as Matty Clark maybe gets a little bit loose on exit there. You saw the lead that the 3 and the 07 had on the field. Stoney Clark took those tires a little early, and he is now right up there with Robert Lawrence. Lawrence is going to pass him, though, but still, you look at how much time that 31 car gained just in pit strategy there. Definitely a good call on that one.
Yeah, definitely a good call for that number 31 as Stoney Benfield is out of pit lane this time by. Lost a total of no laps. So Stoney Benfield did not go a lap down. Worked out in his favor. Johnny Taylor didn't lose a lap either. So definitely going to be something to watch here as you have Robert Lawrence, Matty Clark, Kyle Merkel, Jacob Kaplan, Johnny Taylor, Brian Whitney, Dominic Bettini, Daniel Mulnix, Mark Saccoci, and Justin Cope all in the top 10. 11th will be Mark Thomas. 12th will be Stoney Benfield, and that's going to be the last car on the lead lap.
And man, gotta shout out these drivers again. The fact that we're still running caution free for I don't even know how many laps here, but a long green flag run in cars that are really hard to handle at a track where it is really, really easy to beat yourself. You know, Darlington gets a lot of publicity as being a track where you've got to race the track more than you race your competitors. I think Rockingham is very, very similar in that regard, and these guys are all keeping it clean here for the most part. And the benefit to that, getting stretched out like this, your car's going to handle better because you got a little bit more clean air. You're not going to be right up on top of as many drivers all at the same time. See the hornet's nest kind of in the middle of the field. You get a little room to stretch your legs, little air to that nose, and your car's going to be feeling pretty good, I would think, right now, stretched out like these guys are.
Yeah, that's another thing about what's good about Rockingham is, you bunch everybody back up. That's when you're going to have all your problems. Let these drivers get spread out, and you're going to see some nice and clean racing here. As we're going to go ahead and take a look at the number 3 machine as he was able to get around Jacob Kaplan. And Johnny Taylor still up 14 positions, but now our biggest mover is going to be that number 31 machine, up 17 from where he has started. Johnny Taylor trying to get around the number 48, does so, and now we're going to see what that number... Oh, looks like
09 is in the grass.
09 doing a little bit of surf and turf there. Keeping the grass nice and short for these racers out here tonight, as he's going to lose a couple of spots. Wonder if he just got a little bit too overzealous coming up off the corner. And that's going to put a 1-2-3 RCR back up to the front, as you got a 3-second gap between Robert Lawrence and Matty Clark, and you got another 3-second lead between Matty Clark and Johnny Taylor. So it is possible. I think Johnny Taylor could be the one to get back up there, challenge for the lead, and get that lead back.
Yeah, I think even though he dropped back, he's still the class of the field here as far as speed goes. He and Lawrence. Lawrence has that lead right now, but of course Taylor pitted a little bit later. That means his tires are probably going to hang on a little bit later too. It wouldn't surprise me a bit to see him back up there and challenging for that lead before the next before this fuel run is over with.
Yeah, I don't think we'll. I don't think we're going to see that number 3 machine stay in third as much as he can. He's going to try to get his way back up to the top. As 140 laps in, and Caleb, I think it's time to get another "You Love to Hear It" in, don't you think?
Let's do it.
ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. You love to hear it. For CRN, 160 laps down out of 393. A long race here tonight, but still a lot of racing left. It is Robert Lawrence and Johnny Taylor leading this field to the green flag. Still up front as Matty Clark and Daniel Molnix are P3 and P4. But nonetheless, everybody's still doing what they can to try to track down that number 3 and the 07 of the RCR bundle here, as it looks like Justin Cope getting ready to get passed by the number 29 of Brian Whitney in that. I think this car is making me super hungry, Caleb. I don't know why. I just ate my dinner, and looking at that number 29 of Brian Whitney, it's making me get even hungrier.
Well, I think Whitney is probably feeling more frustrated than hungry inside the car right now. Looks like he's got a few scrapes on the right side of that car, and definitely a couple laps ago, I don't know if he got tied out of the corner or what happened, but I think he's lost about 3 spots here in those last couple of laps. Of course, you got the 2 car up there, Molnix racing with Benfield right now. Cope passed him as well. Of course, Benfield, we were talking about that last pit cycle, pitted after everybody, has worked his way up from, I believe he came out of the pits in 11th or 12th, all the way back up to 5th right now and racing for 4th a little bit. Molnix was another guy that did a really good job that last run, saving his tires. So these guys are charging back up to the front. In front of them, you see Matty D. Clark, who was the first guy to pit, I think, on that last pit cycle. Definitely gained a lot of spots initially, but you see the 2 guys behind him gaining on him now at this point, and that's kind of the downside of pitting early. Is on the back end, you're going to wind up paying for it a little bit, but it also sets you up to kind of pit early and short pit the rest of the field on the next cycle too, if it works out that way.
Yeah, it's with these drivers doing what they possibly can to get all the way in and through here, it's always going to come down to when those tires warm up. If they get a little bit too hot, you could say as Mark Sokochi is going to be the first one to take that 8 machine down a pit lane. Not sure if he's having any problems, but Mark Sokochi in a pit lane, and now we got a pass for P number 3, Daniel Molnix, down to the inside of the number 31. 31's going to slide up high. Matty Clark on the outside, Daniel Molnix on the inside. But right behind them, they got the faster pastor of the 75, and a lap car is going to play dividends to the number 31. A 2-for-1 going into turn number 1 and 2.
That's a buy one, get one free special right there, Dylan.
Yeah, it definitely that, yeah, 2-for-1 special, happens to the best of us. They were able to get it done, to say the least, but still it is Daniel Molnix leading Stony Benfield in P number 4. Matty Clark, though, fell down to P number 5. Not sure what's going on with that number 31 machine, but still trying to make it happen. As they're all trying to just gain as much as they possibly can, as Robert Lawrence, our race leader, is currently right on the back bumper of that number 09 of Kyle Merkel. And Robert Lawrence showing his hand at this second stage here, I guess you could say, with these tire runs. Johnny Taylor, that number 3 machine, trying to do what he can to keep Robert Lawrence in his sights, has dropped him all the way down to 3 seconds. So it's definitely going to be a good battle for the race lead once it happens. Matty Clark, though, getting passed by Justin Cope. So I wonder if Matty Clark trying to do the undercut ended up burning up his stuff a little bit too early.
Yeah, could be. Certainly, he was making hay while the sun was shining there. Went up to the lead early whenever that pit cycle went through. Another one that I've been watching, though, has been Johnny Taylor. He has been slowly closing on Robert Lawrence. Lawrence, though, definitely keeping a good-sized gap. Got a 3-second lead still at this point. I'm thinking unless his tires wear off pretty quick, I would expect Lawrence to be still at the front whenever they come to this next pit cycle here. Of course, like you said, plenty of speed in that '07 car is already lapped up to P9 on the field. Only 8 cars left on the lead lap at this point in the race. Just goes to show how fast that '07 car is.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. He was over 3 seconds. He is now down to 2.6 seconds on a Johnny Taylor. Lap traffic is playing a key. You want to get around lap traffic, but you want to do it quickly and as cleanly as you possibly can. And that lead went from 3 seconds down to 2.6 just by Mark Sikochi getting his lap back there as the 09 of Kyle Merkel. He's going to take that number 09 machine down into pit lane this time by, so that's going to move him down possibly 3 laps by the end of this field run. And I've noticed if you take your car down pit lane, you're going to lose about 1 to 2 laps depending on when you can get out of there. So definitely want to watch when you pit and where the leader is when you enter pit road.
Yeah, and if heaven forbid a caution comes out, if you lose 1 lap, you've got a good sized lead right now, like Robert Lawrence does, or Johnny Taylor on the field. They come down to the pits, they'll probably lose 1 lap. If the caution does come out, if they pit early, you can get a lucky dog. You can kind of get that back. If you lose 2 laps, it begins to get a whole lot harder to get those laps back, especially the way this thing has been going green for most of this race. If it continues on like that and you don't have but maybe another caution or 2, it's going to be really, really difficult to gain back 2 laps if you try to short pit the field and a caution does come out and you wind up a couple laps down.
Yeah, definitely going to be something to watch here. It's definitely it's I don't know what to do here. If I'm Robert Lawrence, I want to keep that lead, as that lead is down under 2 seconds here. But if I'm anybody else, I just want to try to just ride, take my time, let the car come to me some more, and try to triple stint this out. See how far you can really go on a fuel run. Can't remember how long they went on that fuel run, but it's still something different to see out here in that number 07 and number 3 car, because the 3 car, he's going to pit, and then the last car to pit is going to be that 75. So you're going to see Stoney Benfield take advantage of these other drivers pitting super early, so to speak, and then you're going to have Stoney Benfield staying out 2 to 3 extra laps over the number 3 and the rest of the field.
Yeah, and that's the benefit of stretching that first run like he did. But to do that, you have got to save those tires. As you see, the 31 now going to be a short pit in the field. It looks like Matty D. Clark again. To hold off like Benfield does, man, it is so difficult to save tires on this track, especially. And the way that he did it, and I think he pitted like 5 laps after most of the cars came. He's definitely setting him up for success as this race goes on like this, if it stays green.
Yeah, hopefully it does stay green. We always want to see these races go from start to finish under green, but quick 2 to 3 cautions here tonight, and it just happened to play favor to that. But nonetheless, 182 laps down out of 393. Your field right now is Robert Lawrence in P number 1, Johnny Taylor in 2nd, Daniel Mulnix in 3rd, Stoney Fast Pastor Benfield in 4th, Justin Cope in 5th, Brian Whitney in 6th, Jacob Kaplan in 7th, Mark Thomas in 8th, Mark Sikochi in 9th, and rounding out your top 10 is going to be Matty Clark. In 11th will be Dominic Bettini, 12th, William Martin, 13th, Kyle Merkel, 13th, or actually a change. 13th is going to be Shane Wilden. 14th, Kyle Merkel. 15th, Dan Ross. 16th, Marcotti. 17th, Andy Reeves. 18th is going to be John Thompson. 19th, Alexander Encarnacio, and 20th is going to be Lucas Nilgis. So that's going to be your rundown on the field here tonight. I'm sorry that the overlay is not showing on the broadcast. I thought it was all fixed. It's a problem on my end. I'm trying to figure it out, so please bear with me while I try to get that figured out. Hopefully I can get it up before the end of tonight, and you guys get to see what I get to see here on my screen. So on my side, I can see everything that is going on. I know where everybody is on the track. I know how many laps we are doing, and I can see where everybody is position-wise. I thought once I got the SDK thing figured out, it was going to be able to showcase on the screen for you guys here tonight. Obviously, that is not the case, so trying to get my technical side up and trying to get around it, so I do apologize if you guys cannot see it. It is 100% my fault, and just please bear with myself and CRN as I try to get this figured out for everybody here tonight.
Well, it's also SDK's fault too. I mean, don't get me wrong, Dylan. I'll be the first to blame you when you wreck me on the track, but I think SDK can take the blame for this one a lot too. But as far as what we got going on track, that lead has certainly shrunk down as you're watching 0.2 of a second, and the 3 car has gotten on by the 7 now. So scratch my prediction that the 07 would hold out, man. That three car, Johnny Taylor, he did just scrape the wall there, but he's still blazing fast. So now I'll be interested to see if Robert Lawrence tries to short pit again here and jump and get a big lead like he did the last pit cycle. And he is coming to the pits now, 07 to pit road.
Yeah, the 07 is going to go down into pit lane at this time by. So now we're going to see probably 5 to 10 laps. We're going to see Johnny Taylor go into pit lane. And then 2 to 3 laps after Johnny Taylor goes in, you're going to see the 75 go into pit lane. On my screen now, as I'm looking, the 75 just passed the start-finish line. The 3 is coming out of the 3 and 4. So there's a big track difference between the 3 and the 75. But the next car up is Daniel Molnix. He's now going into turn number 3 and 4 when Johnny Taylor is coming out of 2. So he's got a lot of track time as the 28. Not sure what's going on with him. Looking at it now, it looks like he might, we're going to go ahead and go back to a quick replay here, see what happened to the number 28 coming off the corner. I'm going to go ahead and slow it down here for everybody. We're still green. No caution was coming out. Oh, yeah, Justin Cope just got a little bit loose coming off the corner. Drift McGee, there he goes. Input the Tokyo Drift theme song in the background. Does a little bit of landscaping here, doesn't hit the wall, but nonetheless keeps this race under green.
Man, what an impressive job. We've had a couple really impressive saves in this race so far. Don't know if the grounds crew is going to be very pleased with that one. Might have given it a little bit of a close shave on the grass there. Might have scalped it a little bit with that, with the nose of that car, but this track is so bumpy, Dylan, as you know well. It is really, really easy to give it just a little bit of gas, especially with these cars that are pushing 850, 900 or so horsepower. Just give it a little bit too much gas on exit there, and you can find yourself sliding sideways in a hurry. But a good job from Cope there, saving it, getting it straightened out a little bit. Of course, lost a lot of track position, not ideal in any way, but he's still racing out there. Didn't wind up stuffed in the wall, didn't bring out a caution, so altogether, good save on that one.
Yeah, impressive save for that number 28 machine. As, like I said, look at that, Stony Benfield out to the lead here tonight at Rockingham. He's got the long run. Johnny Taylor is now coming out of pit lane. Stony Benfield going into turn number 1 and 2. And, Robert Lawrence is P number 2. And he's just now coming out of 3 and 4. So another big gap here for the race leader. As you see there, Stony Benfield going to let those drivers go on by. Stony Benfield going to stay out another lap. And I think if he didn't have those lap cars down to his inside, I believe that number 75 would have pit that time by. But now he's got to hurry up, let this number 99 pass or go down to the inside. Let that driver know, the number 99, like, hey, I'm going to pit this time. Just keep your distance or go around me on the outside. And maybe Stoney's not going to pit this time. No, he's going to keep it out another lap. So Stoney Bedfield trying to do what he possibly can to maintain that lead.
Yeah, and this is playing right into his hand because what he stayed out, I want to say at least 5 laps after everybody on that first run, it seemed like. It might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but it worked out great for him the first time around. You would think he's probably going to lose at least a lap here, maybe 2, but as long as we stay caution-free, I think this is a really good strategy for him here, having a long-run car like he does.
Well, looking at it now, Stoney Benfield's running 26-second lap times. Robert Lawrence and the whole rest of the field are running 24-second lap times. So 2 seconds a lap. I mean, Robert Lawrence already has that lead chopped down to 8 seconds as Stoney Benfield goes down into pit lane this time by. So inherit the lead back over to Robert Lawrence. And just behind Robert Lawrence is going to be the number 3 of Johnny Taylor. And, you know, it's RCR 1 through 3 again, as Johnny Taylor will be second, Matty Clark in third, Daniel Mulnix in fourth, and running out your top 5 will be Jacob Kaplan.
Yeah, and I think, again, testament to how fast Johnny Taylor has been tonight. Matty D. Clark pitted early there, again, short pitted the field, and still is going to wind up being, 5 seconds about behind Johnny Taylor, so... I think you're going to see the 3 car probably, even though he's got quite a gap to Lawrence here, I think you'll see the 3 car run him down this fuel run like you just did the fuel run that we just got finished with. But I think that 3 car is going to be really, really tough to beat. Benfield, where he's at, though, if this thing stays green, that is definitely the strategy to be running. I don't know if it's going to be the winning strategy, but I think it's a strategy that's going to gain him a lot of positions if we stay green. And it's just the way that he's been saving tire over everybody else. You're always going to wind up better off at these oval races whenever you're saving tire that well.
Yeah, you see there already, Stoney Benfield making the pass on Matty D. Clark. It may not be for position, but Stoney Benfield on the fresher tires out of the whole field is going to make his way around the 31, going to catch up to the number 6, get around him, and then set his eyes on the 29, and it looks to be possibly the 2 of Daniel Mulnix. So, nonetheless, you kind of want to do what you can, or no, it's not Daniel Mulnix, I apologize. So not sure who it is. It looks like it's the 12 of Mark Thomas. So the 29 and 12 are going to be the next one on the docket for the number 75 machine, as we're still riding along with him. And there we go, down to the inside. It goes to the number 75. And got to give another big shout out. This man has told us recently that Morgan Shepherd is one of his really good friends, and had Morgan Shepherd watching the race last week, and hopefully Morgan Shepherd and his wife are out here watching the race on a CRN here. A big fan of Morgan Shepherd and his rollerblades. You just can't say Morgan Shepherd without incorporating some rollerblades out here tonight. So I wish I could meet and see Morgan Shepherd in person. That would be absolutely amazing. Seeing him in person and, watching him get on his rollerblades up and down pit lane. But Stoney Benfield, a big friend of Morgan Shepherd. I know Morgan has a couple of health issues going on. So with everybody here on a CRN, we pray that you are getting better and hope for a brighter days in future for you, good sir. And thank you for making the sport what it is, even though you fell on your rollerblades a couple of years ago.
Man, Morgan Shepherd is ageless, though. Everybody that races cars aspires to be Morgan Shepherd. That guy He never quits. Yeah, and it's so cool seeing that throwback paint scheme there to that Morgan Shepherd Remington car. It looked good on the track back in the day. It looks good on the virtual track here at Rockingham tonight. And I think Benfield is doing a really good job here, pacing himself, and I think he's going to wind up with a good result if everything works out like it should tonight.
Yeah, definitely going to be something fun here to watch. He gave him a big shout out last week. He finished, I believe, second or third in the race at Daytona. And, he told us up here at the broadcast booth, he's like, all right, Morgan, between 1996 and 2004, what scheme should I run? And it happened to be this number 75 Remington scheme. So he's going through Morgan Shepherd to see what scheme he wants to run for this Cup Series and paying, tribute to the great Morgan Shepherd. So I know maybe if Morgan Shepherd's out there watching, hopefully you get to see Mr. Stony Benfield finish top 3 again here tonight. And, he is a pastor. So, if I didn't get into the broadcast booth a little bit late here tonight, I was planning on having Stony Benfield giving our invocation.
Good choice. Yeah, it's every league needs a league chaplain. I'm convinced, and I've seen firsthand when certain drivers get a little too aggressive. Not naming any names here, certainly not in this very broadcast booth, but it helps to have a pastor on hand, a chaplain that can sing "Kumbaya" and calm everybody down on track there.
Yeah,
always handy.
He's not in the booth yet, though. I mean, we're talking about Zach Woods, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, see, he's not in the booth with us. If for anybody watching, me and Ricky Gonzalez and Caleb Collins used to broadcast the Core Truck and ARCA series, and before it was just the Truck series, and we had a resident pastor, Mr. Zachary Woods, come up and give everybody an invocation week in and week out. Is just something fun to do. And it felt like it was an actual NASCAR race where you had, your prayer, you had everything going on throughout the whole setting. And Zach loves doing it. So every time I get Zach at the broadcast booth just to do it, I told him, you're in there. You just hurry up, go out there, qualify real quick so I can pull you in so you're not in the middle of a lap broadcast or in the middle of a lap on qualifying getting that invocation.
Well, we need to see if we can get Benfield up here for an invocation at the start of this race. Maybe one of these days when SDK doesn't need updating and isn't giving trouble, and all the technologies work in harmony for once.
Yeah, I mean it's been a crazy week. My Wednesday night league, I had the league admin in the broadcast booth with me as he was out for work, so he was relaying to me how many laps were left, what lap we were on for the super late model races on Wednesday night, and they were at Hickory last week. So big shout out to Jeff Vickery for helping me out with that one. But yeah, it's definitely tough. Hopefully I can get this technical issue figured out, and you guys get to see the live timing and everything and the track map and all that stuff. So if you see, it cuts over to the NSR page and all that stuff, I'm trying to work on it completely so that way you guys can see exactly what I see. If I had a side-by-side, I would do it to help a little bit, but I don't currently have a side-by-side view. But yeah, it's SDK decided to throw in a huge update, and it kind of freaked me out there for a little bit because I'm not tech savvy at all. So I was like, I don't know what to do.
You're like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, exactly. Lord Jesus, I'm on fire. As we're going to take a look at the race later here, Brian Whitney getting ready to go another lap down behind the 07, but that gap 2.1 seconds to second place of Johnny Taylor. So it is still a RCR 1-2. Daniel Molnick's up to third. Matty Clark in fourth. Jacob Kaplan in fifth. Justin Cope in sixth. And in seventh position is going to be Stoney Benfield. Eighth will be Brian Whitney. Ninth, Mark Thomas, actually. 10th will be Mark Sakochi. 11th, Dominic Bettini. 12th, William Martin. 13th, Shane Wilden. 14th, I believe it is James Marcotti. 15th, Kyle Merkel. 16th, Dan Ross. 17th is going to be Andy Reeves. 18th, John Thompson. 19th will be in Alexander Encarnacio. In rounding out your 20-car field here tonight will be Lucas Nilgis.
And Robert Lawrence is already lapped up to 5th place. We were talking earlier, wondering how far he's going to make it up the field here. It might not be long before that 07 and the 3 car have lapped everybody but themselves. It honestly wouldn't surprise me at this rate.
Yeah, I mean, these guys have went, I don't know, we're 220 laps in out of 393 laps, and I think our last caution was on maybe lap 20-ish?
Yeah, pretty early on there.
Yeah, so we've went 200 laps, give or take, without a caution. So these drivers doing exactly what they possibly can, as it looked like Robert Lawrence got a little bit loose coming out of turn number 1 and 2, and there you see the gap. The black Intimidator number 3 all over that track back here, trying to make a run at getting that lead this early in the run, as we take a look back at the gearbox, actually.
And that's a good view a little bit there to see as they're going through the turns. You can you can see a little bit of those bumps. It's still hard to get a feel for just how bumpy this track is, though. And that's a big part of the reason why we've been seeing cars getting loose all through this green flag run, and why we've seen some pretty good saves here, because it is so easy to get loose through those turns, because your back tires are just bouncing all the way through the turns, especially down there on the bottom side. So it's easy to lose traction in a hurry off of turn 4 or turn 2, especially when you're 225 laps into this race. Your concentration has to stay high. You've got to stay focused on a really high level, and it's so easy to lose train of thought here, lose concentration, especially when there's a black number 3 car breathing down your tailpipe here and trying to pass you for the lead.
Yeah, it's just, something that we always do here. I like the long races. I always like the long races. It brings out so much strategy, and to have a long race like the NSR where it's 100% distance, you're going to see that strategy play out to perfection. I think most of these drivers that are taking the short pits are trying to divide the pits up into sections. They want to run a fourth of the race here, want to run a fourth of the race here, a fourth. So that way they don't have to worry about pitting that extra time. And, just want to say thanks to all of the people out there watching and commenting on the CRN YouTube channel. We looking at the comments here. Looks like we have Kip Cook saying, "Let's go, number 75, Remington Arms Car, faster, Stoney Benfield." And we got Ruth Gardner watching a faster, High Tech Racing. Can you turn on the board? I want to see where Mark S is. Samantha Ambler asking for the overlays. Kip Cook, again, awesome to hear the announcers to mention and honor Morgan Shepherd tonight. We are very honored to know and watch the great late Morgan Shepherd run around tracks. With his current condition, he is not able to do so, as we are under yellow for the first time in a long time. And I don't see anybody out there stopping on the track. Not sure what happened. Maybe this is a competition yellow to let everybody get in. And yeah, that was unexpected here tonight to have the first yellow after a super long green flag run.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what that one was for too, because I didn't catch it. I didn't see it on track either. So,
Well,
yeah,
I think
not sure what that might have been about.
I think we got race control. So why not bring in Mr. Race Control here? If I can find him. Not seeing Mr. Race Control at all. Oh, there he is. I see Race Control.
Yeah, bring Chatty Cathy in here.
Yeah, I need to have Chatty Cathy. Now I lost him. Where'd he go?
I think he's in the petty room.
There he is. Chatty Cathy, this is Dylan and Caleb in the booth. Got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we just had that long green flag run. I was looking at my track map and everything. I didn't see any cars stop, so kind of walk us through what that little bit of a caution was.
So we were actually looking, and so about the rules, we do throw a caution if they are wrecking. They did not stop, but when I looked at it, they actually were. Well, somewhat were. And what we were replaying it was oh crap, what was it? Shane? I forgot what number he was. But Shane was in the wall, then the 2 came up and wrecked him. Well, not wrecked him, hit him in the turn. God dang, I can't remember. Hit him in the backstretch. And I threw a caution because I thought it was going to get more bad than what it was.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was about to say I didn't see anything getting picked up there, but nonetheless, we want to say thank you for doing what you're doing here and keeping these drivers entertained with all your chatty Cathiness. And yeah, we're going to go ahead and let you get back to whatever room you were in, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week for the Grand Marshal.
Yes, sir.
So there you have it. It was the 43 of Shane Wilden getting up into the wall, and the 2 tapping the number 43 and sending him around.
Yeah, really, really unfortunate for the 2 car because he took a whole lot of the damage to the nose on that just now coming out of the pits. Looks like he's got it fixed up pretty well. So hopefully that car won't be too much in trouble here. But of course, it's really going to be. It's unfortunate for guys like Stoney Benfield that were really counting on that run to go green. Of course, Benfield is going to come out on the lead lap, but had to take the. I think he had to take the wave around to do it. I'm not sure if he got to come to the pits, but well, yeah, he did get to come to the pits. So looks like Benfield will be on the lead lap, and it might work out okay for him. Justin Cope looks like it's going to be kind of a similar situation for him in this one.
Yeah, I actually found the replay here, and taking a look back at it, looks like the 43 got a little bit tight going off of exit, smacks and creams that wall, and then Houston, we have rear end liftoff as the 2 just lifted them up in the air, able to keep the car straight, but nonetheless, that's going to cause that caution there. Back to green we go with almost over 233 laps in out of 393. So 7 short of 400 laps, and still a great race here tonight.
Yeah, and bunching them all back up now. 6 cars on the lead lap. The 07 and the 3 have been the class of field all night, and now they're racing for the lead again.
Yeah, racing for the lead here, as it looked like the 12 got into the wall just a little bit. But Matty Clark back up here to P number 3. And, with that caution, it puts everybody pretty much on the same strategy again. Everybody was able to come back down, cycle out, get some fresh tires, get some more gas, as Jacob Kaplan has that 29 all over that back bumper. And that's not even for position. Stoney Benfield, all the way back here, is the next car in line, as he's got to get around the 12. He's got to get around the 2. He's got to get around a lot of drivers just to get back up to that top position.
Yeah, and the 29 car looking fast. Of course, that whole RCR campus looked pretty fast tonight, but 29 cars in the free pass position right now. However, if I'm him, I'm doing the exact same thing. I don't want to wait. I want to try to earn that free pass the hard way and not depend on it later when a caution comes out, or maybe somebody getting lapped if this thing runs a long time under green. Man, that 2 car, though, of course, part of the cause of that last caution, 1 lap down, but speaking of the battle for the lucky dog, the 2 car is really looking pretty fast
Stoney
here. He's
Benfield.
running down the 29.
Stoney Benfield having problems. Gonna go ahead and try to find Mr. Stoney Benfield. Oh, he's come to a stop. We're gonna go ahead and go back to a quick CRN replay to see what happened. Did he overdrive it maybe? Oh, he did. He stepped out, corrected it, had it saved, correct it again. And watch how quick he locks these tires down. I think he locked them down. No, he didn't. He kept them going. Yep, he hit that grass, and that's when they finally decided to lock up. Gets off the brakes, lets the car roll. Does he hit the wall? He does.
Yeah.
So a little bit of the right side damage, or left side.
Bad.
Yeah, not extremely bad on that left side. So something that you don't want to see, and they're going to keep it green as Stoney Benfield is now right in front of the 2 race leaders, and he's going to take away that line of Robert Lawrence.
Yeah, this really spices things up for the lead. And now if you're Molnick's back here in the 2 car, you're looking at, okay, if Benfield gets past, now he's in the lucky dog position if we get a caution here.
Yeah, he did just get passed by our race leader. So now it is Stoney Benfield going to receive the lucky dog recipient if it does have another caution. So Stoney Benfield, that was his first mistake I've seen him make all night. The dude is absolutely phenomenal. I ran with Stoney Benfield in the official side in the truck races, so I know how clean of a racer Stoney Benfield is. And for him to make that little bit of a mistake, that could just go to show you. One little simple mistake can just ruin your whole outcome of your race. And so far, it looks to be that way, as the 99 of James Marcotti, he is slow on the backstretch. Not sure what happened to him, as he's got a lot of right and left side damage to that number 99. Going to lock it up.
Oh, no.
He made it to pit lane. Wow. Locked him up and still made it to pit lane.
I did not think he was going to pull that off. Going back to Benfield, though, in the lucky dog spot now, of course, going to see a tight race, you would think, between him and Daniel Molnick. Not unlike you've been seeing most of the race from those 2 guys. But I'm not convinced Benfield can't get this lap back the way he's been saving tires, the way he's been consistent up until that last move. A little bit of left side damage, but the left side isn't quite as sensitive as the right side on that nose. And it doesn't look like it's too terribly bad damage. He's still been keeping pace with Lawrence and Taylor up there. I'm not sure that you won't see Benfield back on the lead lap before this thing is all said and done.
Yeah, if it does go green, we're going to see at least 1 more pit stop, maybe 2 from these drivers. Not exactly sure what the fuel load was looking like for these drivers, but still, nonetheless, going to see a couple of pit stops from all these drivers, as Brian Whitney has had some problems back here in the back. Not sure what happened to that number 29, and he's got heavy left side damage to that number 29, so he must have hit the wall going out of turn number 2. We're going to go ahead and take a quick rewind here and see what happened to that number 29 machine of Brian Whitney. Oh, yeah, there it
Well,
is.
he did cream the wall.
Look at that. He's already loose coming off the corner. Oh, look at that. Slide job all the way around. Gets it straightened back up. Oh, just overcorrects. Goes all the way down to the inside. And at this point, you're just like, all right, Jesus, just take the wheel.
Yeah,
And
that's a bad feeling.
yeah, that's something that you hate to see. As he's just going to cream the crop on that left side. But
And he did. He nearly saved it. Like we've seen a couple of really good saves, but you can see there just how easy it is. Again, skinny little back tires on these cars, and it's so easy just when you think you've got it saved for that back end to whip around, that sway bar just to sway a little too much, and then you just lose control of it again. And like you said, nothing you can do. Right into the insole of the wall there.
yeah, Brian Whitney has overcome a lot of adversity the first two races. Him losing packet loss in the first race and having that little bit of trouble here tonight. And, if he was in the infield care center, I wouldn't mind bringing up that driver to talk to him just to see what had happened. But I want him to stay focused, get that number 29 machine back out on track, and see what he can do, as Justin Cope and Robert Lawrence almost made contact coming off turn number 2. And look at that, Stony Benfield working his way back, found his groove, gets around Justin Cope, and Stony Benfield is now the lucky dog recipient. And look at that number 75 go. Faster, trying to make his way back up to get that lead lap back the hard way, the Bill Elliott way, and see if he just can't have a good run at these boys towards the end.
I'm telling you, he's been saving tire all race long. Now he's got an actual reason to stay up there with that 07 and the 3 car. And he's in a really good spot right now. Of course, he'd love to go up there and pass the 3. I'm not convinced he won't do it as he goes the inside of the 7 car here. But he's even still, he's in a great spot being in that lucky dog spot right now and just keeping pace lap for lap with the leaders where he's at.
Yeah, look at that. Got around the number 07, and now, I can understand why Stony Benfield's running super hard to get that lap back. But that's just going to make Robert Lawrence lose the lead pack from Johnny Taylor, who has checked out to a 1.3 second lead. Only 4 drivers on the lead lap. So you got Johnny Taylor, Robert Lawrence, Matty Clark, and Jacob Kaplan on the lead lap here tonight. Everybody else is 1, 4, 6, 9, 13, 48, 79, 93, 146, 180, 202, and 223 laps down.
And talking about guys to lap down now, how hard do you push, do you think, Dylan, if you're Daniel Molnick's back there? He's in 6th position. He's the 2nd car a lap down. So if the caution comes out now, he would have to hope for the wave around to get around. You can see Lawrence up there. You're watching him pass, you can see the 75 up there. You can see him passing Lawrence. You can see that he's going for the 3 car there if he can get up to him. Do you push? Do you try to get up there to the 75? Or are you just saying, no, we're just going to let Benfield go try and run down the leaders and hope he gets his lap back, and I'm back in the free pass spot here, and we're going to save tire in case we're on another long run?
I think I do this second. I think I just let him go. I just save my stuff, let him go, and just see what could happen. I mean, anything can happen, as the 28 of Justin Cope able to get around the 6 there. And that was not for position, but nonetheless still trying to do what they can to get all the way through this field. And, you got the 28 and the 6. And then right behind them, you got the 3 and the 07 along with the 75. So the 75 is going to allow the 07 to get back around him. So now the '07 got around the 75. So the 75 may have ran a little bit too hard the first couple laps. Now he's got to back up his pace, save those tires just a little bit more, and have the longevity of the run. He can get that lap back. Oh, we might have a caution. Shane Wilden almost got together with the number 28. You seen there on the screen, super close racing between those two drivers. And checking in with Mark Trisket Thomas, running P number 9 for the Englishman, all by himself. And running a pretty clean race up here, just logging laps.
Yeah, and shout out that Hot Wheels car too. Jacob Kaplan, he's running P4, last car on the lead lap here. Of course, there's only 4 cars on the lead lap, so that's quite an accomplishment where he's at up there, right behind Matty D. Clark. And really, still, it looks like only 4 seconds behind your leader, Johnny Taylor, who has pretty much been the class of the field all day long. Kaplan is really setting himself up for a strong finish here as we come down to, what are we at, about 130 or so laps to go here?
Yeah, just about that. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, coming down to almost 100 laps as we are on lap 263 out of 393. So 130 laps to go with these Gen 4 cars. And, it's been a long race here. I bet all these drivers are sweating in their sim rigs, ready for this race to be over so they can get some sleep and go on to the next race, as that'll be here on CRN next week. So, yeah, I think, I don't know about you, Caleb, but if I was racing in this race, I'd be like, can this race end? Can this race end? Can this race end? Okay, we're on lap 260. Is it over yet? Oh, man, I'd be ready to get out of the car, and I wouldn't even want to look at myself. Oh, Jacob Kaplan right on the back bumper of the number 31. I thought he was going to turn him there.
I thought so too.
That Petty machine's got some speed.
It does. And you bring up a good point there, Dylan. Races like this, yes, you're not inside of an actual car, so hopefully, unless you're like yours truly, who for some reason has a sim rig in a shop that's not climate controlled in Texas, hopefully it doesn't feel like you're inside of an actual race car. So physical endurance maybe isn't quite such a big deal for sim racing, but the mental endurance is absolutely still there on a full-length race like this. 393 laps at one of the toughest tracks that you can run it at, as far as space and being able to not beat yourself and race the track as much as you're racing your competitors. It takes a huge mental toll, and you can bet that these guys are going to feel drained at the end of this race for sure. They already feel drained right now, and they've still got more than 100 laps to go here.
Yeah, it's still more than 100 laps left, and yeah, I would be totally drained. It's different. I've done the endurance races like the 12 hours of Sebring, the 12 hours of Bathurst, the 24 hours of Daytona. But for that, you have teams. So, Caleb, I know that me and you were on a team one year, and granted, you didn't have your C-Class license for road, so you couldn't even race with us. But
I was a little bit of a noob at that time.
Yeah, still a little bit of a noob, as you could say, but nonetheless, you have a team of 5 to 6 guys that, once you get done with your stint, which is give or take 1 to 2 hours, they'll hop in the car while you get a little bit of rest, and then after their stint, another guy and another guy and another guy and another guy, and then it's finally your stint again. So, that's a little bit different from this 100% race here tonight. And Jacob Kaplan making the move on Matty Taylor to take over P number 3.
Yeah, like you were saying, that 44 car, that Hot Wheels car is looking hot tonight. But just to pick up where you left off, yeah, that's you're right. It's a team event. your stint is generally an hour or two long, so not even as long as this race. Then you've got somebody spotting you. So you've got somebody that's taking care of your fuel strategy. You've got somebody that's talking to you and saying, hey, let's focus here. Here's what's going on around the track right now. Some of these guys will have spotters for this race tonight, but still, it's just you in the car. You are responsible for the success or failure of your race out here tonight. Even though real racing, a lot of times at this level, it comes down to your pit crew and your crew chief as well. And this one, it's pretty much you. You're responsible for the outcome of your race and staying focused at a tough track to do it at. It's not an easy task right now, and it just goes to show just how good these guys like Johnny Taylor and Robert Lawrence and Jacob Kaplan are at racing here, with a track and a car combination that is pretty tough to handle tonight and has bitten several guys already.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something here to watch. As you know, Stoney Benfield has stayed up with the number 07, but Jacob Kaplan has pulled away from the number 31. He's working his way to the number 75, and then slowly but surely going to make his way to the number 07 of Robert Lawrence. So a pretty stout top 5 out here tonight. A pretty stout field, actually, is a lot of these drivers still out here maintaining those laps. Looks to be about 6 drivers have already packed it up on the hauler and started heading to week number 3.
Ooh, and the 6 car just nailed the wall on the back stretch, got sideways on entry at turn 3. Really slow on the front stretch now. Didn't go to the pits, though. Looks like he's going to try to get it back going here. William Martin still in a decent spot here, P11 at this point, but definitely got bit by the track here, and now that car, you know, it is not handling at all how he wants it to. But it looks like he kept from bringing out a caution here, so I think we're going to stay green at this point as we watch Jacob Kaplan tailing Stoney Benfield here, who is back to tailing Robert Lawrence. And we've got quite a race going here. Guys running for different things, one trying to hold on to P2, one trying to maybe get his lap back, and Jacob Kaplan here going, man, I can get by these guys. I wouldn't mind running second right now.
Yeah, you know, he would not mind running second at all. He wouldn't mind finishing top 3. And, you know, if Ricky Gonzalez was here in the broadcast booth with us, he'd be cheering on that number 44 all the way down and almost got into the back end of the 75. I thought for sure there was going to be a caution there, but the 44 making quick work of that number 75. Now on to the 07. What can the 44 do to get around Robert Lawrence? Robert Lawrence taking a defensive line here, and I think Jacob Kaplan's got the speed. Look at him go down to the inside, going into turn number 3.
Yeah, and something interesting about Kaplan, even though he was 4th for a while there, might have even been 5th at this restart, he's kind of held that 4-second gap between himself and Johnny Taylor in the lead. He hasn't, even though he's been racing around other cars. Of course, Johnny Taylor's faced some lap traffic too. But, yeah, Jacob Kaplan is not losing much ground on the leader here at this point. And the 07's scraping the wall a little bit. That's going to give Kaplan that P2 position.
Yeah, Robert Lawrence coming out of turn number 1 and 2. Oh, he hits the wall again going into 1 and 2. But coming out of 1 and 2, Robert Lawrence got a little bit loose, and that kind of set him up for turn number 3 just to tag the wall through the field there, as Robert Lawrence getting around the number 43, Shane Wielden, trying to keep it high around the outside out of these drivers' way. And here comes the number 28 of Justin Cope. Oh, look at that.
Ooh,
block by the number 75
there.
And, you know, good awareness by the number 28. You know, if that was me, though, I will be honest. If that was me and you did that, oh, buddy, you're going around. But not The 28. The 28 recognized what was happening, checked up just a little bit, and was able to keep it off the back bumper. So I think right now, I think we need to go on board with this number 28 machine, give you just a little bit of a inside view just to how much he's working this wheel.
And you can see just how bumpy the track is, how much he's having to steer back to the right. Car is right on that line between tight and loose. That's where you want it. That's fast. As you can see, as he's passing a couple of guys here, Mark Thomas on the outside. But it's a handful, no doubt about it, especially on a bumpy track like this one.
Yeah, he just took away 3 positions in one corner. That was absolutely marvelous. As, Johnny Taylor out to a 4.8 second lead over our second place runner of Jacob Kaplan. And now I think it's about time for these pit stops to concur, as we had trouble on a pit lane. What happened to the 99 and the 6 of William Martin? We're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a replay here, see exactly what happened. I think maybe the 99, the 99 getting into pit lane and having some problems here as he locks it up. Oh, he spins it out, nudges it into. Oh, that's a bad place to be. The 6.
And the 6 is coming. He locks him up.
Oh, my goodness. That was absolutely incredible that none of those drivers got involved with each other. As, look at that, Justin Cope getting around the number 42. Oh, a little bit loose. Wanted to give him a little bit of a tail slap there. Thought better of it, but Justin Cope trying to get that lap back.
Mark Thomas is down to the apron.
Yeah, whatever. Mark
looks
Thomas.
like Mark Thomas is coming maybe here. Now came back on the track, I guess, just giving those guys on the outside some room to run. Of course, the Muffin Man, always very sportsmanlike, race clean every time. So just trying to be a good sport there and give some faster cars around him the chance to go. Mark holding on to a top 10 where he's at right now. So no reason to force the issue and wind up wrecking his day and somebody else's maybe too.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, I was in the middle of a yawn as soon as you stopped talking there. Yeah, it's definitely something fun here to watch. You see there, Robert Lawrence has fallen back to P number 4, so his tires are possibly screaming at him, as he's going to have a lot of drivers right behind him, the 29, the 8, the 43, all gunning to get around the number 07. And the 07 back up into the wall. That's going to allow Brian Whitney to get around him. He's going to be back at the wall again, loose, and he saved it.
Good job saving it.
Oh, he's in the wall again. In the wall, even some more. So not sure what's going on. I think he might be asleep. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Lawrence may be asleep. Oh, my goodness. Still loose.
Yeah, I think he's got something broke on that car.
Yeah, he cannot keep that number 07 off the wall. And you know what? He's going to keep it out here. I think he lost his concentration, as we talked about that earlier. Lost his concentration. Got it back. And you see how far he is away from that wall now? Yeah. That wall will do a number to you. Let me tell you what.
Well, and the thing about it, too, it might have knocked the toe out enough where his steering is not set where he's used to it. You run your steering at a certain spot and you get used to having your hands on the wheel in a certain place after 290 laps. And whenever you smack the wall good and it knocks that wheel maybe even up to 90 degrees to the left, possibly, your hands aren't where you thought they were. You can see that wheel is shaking for him a little bit. I would be willing to bet that wheel is not where it started. and it's easy to kind of lose track of where your hands need to be, kind of going around a tight track like this. Whenever you're suddenly your wheel is not pointed the direction it has been all race long.
Yeah, you see there,
Scrapes the wall
in
a
the
little bit
wall
again there.
gonna let the 49 by of Dominic Bettini. But look at that crossover.
Eventually, though, if you flatten that right side enough, he should have some pretty good side force on that right side if he keeps grinding it off little by little. And, good weight reduction, too. You just keep grinding it off a little bit at a time.
So are you saying
you could shave off a couple pounds that way?
Are you saying I hear a hail melon coming around the corner? Or
Anything's possible. I have not tried it at Rockingham, and certainly these cars tend to suck you into the wall more than they do anything. But hey, if you're in a spot where you need, how many positions did Chastain need there? Like 5 spots? Nothing to lose. Hail melon, baby. Why not?
Yeah, it definitely got to do something, as they're trying to do whatever they possibly can to get this car all the way around this racetrack to see what they can do. Riding on board with our race leader, that's going to be Johnny Taylor, and that number 3 machine, as it is Jacob Kaplan, and it is Johnny Taylor, the only 2 cars on the lead lap. The 31, the 07, the 99 are all down pit lane. So now it's going to be, when does Johnny Taylor come in? When does Jacob Kaplan come in? And the 49 is in. The 3 car is in. Less than 100 laps to go here at Rockingham.
Yeah, and you would think this is probably going to be your money stop. 44, no doubt. Just noticed that the 3 car is in, so I'd expect to see the 44 here pretty soon down pit road as well. Because he knows every lap that he doesn't come down, he's just going to be losing time to that 3 car. And if there's one thing Johnny Taylor hasn't seemed to need tonight, it's more speed. So I would expect Kaplan will be coming pretty soon.
Yeah. Kaplan is already in a pit lane this time by, so Johnny Taylor not going to go a lap down. And you see there, Daniel Molnick's in pit lane, the 49 coming out with Johnny Taylor. And Johnny Taylor out of pit lane. And that's another thing that we got to watch for, is the looseness coming out of pit lane. Come out of pit lane, it's going to be, it's going to be a little tricky. Yeah,
you got to wait for those tires to heat up and build pressure. They're not going to feel anything like the tires you just got rid of. They're going to be really soft and spongy and squirrely for the first couple laps here for sure.
Yeah, being loose, you're on cold and fresh tires. And, coming out of pit lane, it's bumpy. There's no rubber down underneath. So it's definitely going to be a tough task to do. But it looks like Stoney Benfield is still going to be trapped 1 lap down. He's got to get around. Oh, we have a caution. We have a caution on the racetrack. Gonna see who it was. Brian Whitney has jumped to pit lane. So we're going to go ahead and rewind this just to see what happened to the number 29 machine. Oh, no. Brian Whitney gets loose down to the inside. Or no, he was coming out of pit lane. Oh, gets loose through 3 and 4. Overcorrects. Corrects it back up to the outside wall. Oh, heavy, hard.
I think he's going to catch the 6 car here on the way by.
Oh, no, the 6.
That's going to be hard impact.
Oh, Mark Martin, the wall. Both of them. 2 big hits on the outside wall. And Brian Whitney right down in front of Jacob Kaplan. Just going to try to tow that car into pit lane.
And as much as you hate to see that, you know what happens every time you run a race, especially when this long at Rockingham. You run this long, you're tired, you're mentally exhausted, 300 laps in, and you just saw a race that was going really well for Brian Whitney just go south. Just in the blink of an eye, just like that. One wrong move, and suddenly your car is sideways and out of control, and you're just along for the ride at that point.
Yeah, definitely out just along for the ride. As you put a pretty nice example onto that. But Jacob Kaplan, I think, just beat Johnny Taylor out of pit lane. I think he beat him out of pit lane. No,
I don't think he did. He tried.
He tried.
I think Taylor's going to get it here just by a nose.
Yeah, Johnny Taylor got it by a nose. They're the only two to go down pit lane.
Man, Kaplan knew exactly what that restart could mean for him if he had control of it here. That could be a race-changing thing. He had to be just as close to speeding as he could possibly get on pit road there.
Yeah. Matty Clark stays out.
Interesting.
Yeah, that definitely.
So he must be pretty confident he can make it to the end here. And they did just pit very recently. Unless he's just going for trying to lead a lap here and he's going to come to the pits next time by. But if he stays out of here, not going to have as fresh a rubber, but not too old. Might be able to make a good run at it here.
Yeah, Matty Clark and Johnny Taylor both started from the back, and they worked their way to the front. And these guys, they're leading the field. I mean, Johnny Taylor, I know, is a great setup builder. I've ran some of the stuff that he has built. The kid knows what he's doing when it comes to his setups. As pace lights are off on the pace car, you're going to have Matty Clark, Johnny Taylor, Jacob Kaplan, Mark Saccoci, and Robert Lawrence are your top five. In sixth, starting one lap down, is going to be that number 75. Seventh will be Daniel Molnix. Eighth will be Justin Cope. Ninth, Mark Thomas. 10th, Dominic Bettini. 11th, William Martin. 12th, Shane Weldon. 13th, Brian Whitney. 14th, James Marcotti. 15th is Kyle Merkel. 16th, Dan Ross. 17th, Andy Reeves. 18th, John Thompson. 19th, Alexander Encarnacio. And running out your 20 car field will be the Lucas Nilgis pace car. Down to the inside. We're going to go back to green here. Matty Clark leading these guys to the green flag. Oh, we had a big check up there towards the back, as it looked like maybe the 99 not able to get going. And we have one coming out of pit lane there late. But on that restart, it looked like Jacob Kaplan got the worst end of it, as the guy in front of him did not go right away.
It looks like we're going to have a pass for the lead here as Taylor tries to get inside of Clark. Clark is going to have a run on exit here, but I don't think it's going to matter. Johnny Taylor in those fresh tires class the field all day. He's going to take the lead again here, and he's going to be looking for some smooth sailing from here to the finish.
Yeah, Johnny Taylor trying to do what he can to lead the majority of this race, but something is going on with that number 99 machine, James Marcotti. He's going to bring that car all the way back around, put it into pit lane. I wonder if he's under... No, he's going to come up right in front of the race leaders. And he's going to take it down below the line there. So not sure what was going on with the number 99. But nonetheless, I think, Caleb, we're going to go ahead and move on to another You Love to Hear It.
Sounds good to me.
right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back after that quick little, you love to hear it. I'm going to go ahead and look back here at the cause of caution. Oh, you see there the 6 no front bumper. Oh, just gets off the wall. Oh, he blew his motor. Oh, he got off the wall and then his motor blew right in front of the race leaders. So yeah, I can see why race control called that caution. Got to the wall, got it off, missed the inside wall, but while he was pulling away from the inside wall, the motor just expired on that number 6 machine. Nonetheless, look at everybody coming down pit lane, and guess who's back on the lead lap? Stoney Benfield is on the lead lap. Look at him.
It was only a matter of time. He's been fighting in that lucky dog spot for how many laps now? Finally paid off.
Yeah, it paid off, but now do you have the short run speed? What can Stoney Benfield do to get around all this traffic and get back up to the front? We know these drivers possibly have to do another green flag pit stop. But it's going to be something different as, oh, look at that. Johnny Taylor played a little bit of mind games there. Lets Robert Lawrence come out in front of him. This is going to be a fun one to watch. As I was going to grab the number 29, but not able to grab him. Don't have him. So it looks like the 29 went out of the chat for RCR, so not going to be able to talk to the driver of the number 29. But nonetheless, Caleb, it's been a great race here tonight. Minimal cautions, which absolutely surprised me. But, you know, when the I ratings range from... I think the lowest I rating is 1,100. No, we have a 850 I rating, all the way up to over 5,000. You're going to have product of some great racing here, and that's what we've been seeing all night here tonight. And the product of racing has just been subpar all the way throughout this night.
I think you mean above par, Dylan. Not to correct you, but definitely above par racing tonight. Yeah, and I bet you I could guess who the 5,000 I rating is too, but that number 3 car, Johnny Taylor's going to be, looks like he's going to be on the outside of this restart. Interested to see, I think Robert Lawrence is going to be our leader here, and it looks like he's got all of that damage fixed up. So now that he's controlling the restart, of course, Lawrence was really, really fast before he got into the wall there. If he's got that car all patched up, he could really be a guy that could throw a wrench in this thing for Johnny Taylor, especially on the short run here. And the other guy I'm looking at here is that 44 car, Jacob Kaplan, because he was definitely on the short end of that restart on the last one. Now he's up outside of Johnny Taylor in that 3 car. I don't know if Taylor has started on the outside. I think he's done a restart on the outside, but you would expect, even though that outside has been slow, you would expect Johnny Taylor's going to get a good run here on this restart.
Yeah, definitely going to get a good run on this outside. Believe the control car is going to be the number 07. So pace car going to dip down into pit lane. Robert Lawrence going to have the bozo button. And there he goes off to a great restart. Going to leave the 3. Going to check out to a big gap there. And you got the top.
These restarts
the
have just
12
been
getting a little bit
ridiculous.
loose.
Oh, no.
We are under caution
Mark
yet
is around.
again. And, it was Mark Thomas. Oh, the Muffin Man. Gonna have to take a look back here, see exactly what happened. Oh, just getting into the quarter, gets a little bit loose. Cue in the Tokyo Drift theme song there. Almost had it saved.
Really, I think
Oh,
everybody did a pretty good job of avoiding him. Of course, Mark has nosed it into the wall there at the end of this, I think.
oh
It looked
no,
like he had quite a bit of damage, but
Stony Benfield on the outside. Oh, look at that. I got to give props to Mark Thomas. He could have easily let that car drift back up to the outside and hit the 75. Mark Thomas did everything in his power to not involve another driver. And that's what makes Mark Thomas Mark Thomas.
yeah, that's what we love about the Muffin Man, just like we were talking earlier. Always a class act, even when it means he's going to wind up wrecking his own car a lot worse. Yeah, he's just the kind of guy you like to race with because he's the kind of guy that's going to do something like that. Rarely is he ever in a situation where he loses control of his car, but when he is, yeah, he's always going to try to take it to the inside or take it out of harm's way as quickly as he can. And a time when your car is literally out of control, to find enough control to turn it back away from traffic takes a fair bit of skill there under pressure and a cool head too. So hate to see it happen to Mark, but it just goes to show what kind of a guy he is, and I'm sure he'll get that damage fixed. He'll get a decent finish out of this thing yet.
Yeah, going to be a decent finish here tonight. And if the cautions weren't so short, I'd bring in the driver, the number 44, into the broadcast booth. But it looks like the pace lights are going to go off on the pace car. Maybe no. They're going to be on for one more lap, but still not going to bring that 44 in here just because I'm not quick with putting him back in his driver chat. So, single monitor life, hashtag. I want to know what these drivers are going to do if it comes down to a late green flag run. Do you put more tape on the car? I don't even know if you can put tape on the car. Would you take the tape up? Would you jack up the right rear tire pressure? Would you add spring there's so much stuff you can do on the race car in car when you're racing. There's just so much you can do to make the car get a little bit better, as it looks like Johnny Taylor having a little bit of connection issues there. There's just so much you can do for the car in general. So it's definitely going to be a long shot for a lot of these drivers, but nonetheless, we are 1 to green, and Stony Benfield is back in the pit lane.
Interesting. So do you think Stony Benfield is wondering whether all these other cars are going to be able to make it to the finish here? And because he was sitting pretty P5 on that restart, willing to give that up to top off with fuel. I think Stony maybe is maybe not necessarily that he knows something the rest of these guys don't know, but maybe he is banking on this thing going green from here on, and maybe being able to have an extra lap or two of fuel in the tank might make the difference.
Yeah, definitely going to see what we can do. But nonetheless, going to be a great one to watch here tonight for the last couple of laps. 80, a little less than 80 laps to go. Robert Lawrence has the green button on his side. He's going to get a great jump on the race. And Jacob Kaplan still side by side with the number 31 machine. He's going to have the advantage going into turn number 1.
Yeah, it looks like Clark might have spun the tires a little bit on that restart. This is what Kaplan has been waiting for, though. He's finally got a clean restart. He's got 2 fast cars in front of him. He knows he's got hot wheels on his car. He's got a fast ride underneath of him. Let's see if he can chase down the 07 and the 3 as fast as they've been all race long.
Yeah, definitely going to be a fun thing to watch.
And Matty D. Clark has had short run speed all race too, and he's got that car patched back up. Had some difficulty with it too, but he's looking fast here.
Yeah, Matty Clark knows his crunch time, wants to get up there, try to battle for the race win, has been up front all night, and just wants to see what he can do with that number 31 machine. Back in the back, though, Stoney Benfield trying to get around that number 43 of Shane Wilden. And, we're back to having the two groups of drivers. You got the first pack and you got the second pack.
And the first pack looks maybe a little more racy right now. This backpack here, I think Stoney Benfield, like we were talking about, is trying to save. He's planning on this thing going green from here, I would expect. Or he's at least going to be ready for it in case it does. Going to get by the 43 on the inside here.
Oh!
Take it nice and easy.
Oh, Stoney Benfield
he's around.
gets
43 into the 75.
By the 43.
Oh no, that's
his car.
That's catastrophic.
Yeah, Stoney Benfield's car is smoking.
Oh man.
And
that is not at all what he had in mind for passing that 43 car on the inside there.
Yeah, oh man. Stoney Benfield running a great race here tonight. And it's all going to come down to a lapped car. Oh man. I feel so bad for Stoney. Stoney's been running super clean, really good, and just lap traffic playing due, and gonna take the 75 out of this race. So we're gonna go ahead and work on back with this, get a better look at it here. We're gonna look on the board. We're going to get that chase cam and slow it down. As you see there, oh yeah, Stoney holding his line. The 43 just came down and just hard on the outside wall, and Stoney at that point just had nothing to do. Nothing he could do.
I wonder if Wheeldon just thought that Stoney was a whole lot lower. I thought that he would have a lot more room going into the turn there or what, but you can't really ask for much more room than Benfield gave him there. I feel like still a car width up the track that the 43 could have gone there.
Yeah, they made contact at first, and then Shane just came back down and finished the 75 off. And you hate to see it for that number 75, faster pastor, as he's going to be sitting in pit lane.
And that right rear, too. That right rear that's a death sentence for a car. Anytime you get hit in that right rear quarter panel, you're going to turn straight up into the outside wall. Just nowhere to go, really, for either of those cars at that point. It's not going to be a good ending to your day here after 320 some odd laps to have it wind up that way. That's rough, but definitely a strong day for Benfield, something he can take and build on for next week. But man, you sure do hate to see that after a strong day from a tough competitor there.
Yeah, you hate to see it happen, and it's just absolutely crazy. But we are back under caution, so what better way than to bring in the driver, the number 44. That's going to be Jacob Kaplan. Jacob, this is Dylan and Caleb in the booth. Got a copy. Jacob? All right, so Jacob Kaplan not having any luck there, so not sure what's going on with that number 44 machine. Try to get him in here to get a little bit of an interview with him, as he had some fans out there in the YouTube chat wanting to talk to him, and just not able to get him dialed up, as I felt like DW tried to get these drivers dialed up, and half the time it doesn't work, sometimes it does, and tonight just was not my luck. But Jacob Kaplan's
focused in, man. He's talking right now.
He said, you know what, screw your interview right now. I'm trying to go for a win.
Yeah. Ain't got time for no interview, boys. I'm going to the front. And he is starting outside front row here, as a matter of fact, it looks like on this restart.
As once this restart goes green, we will be going to a quick commercial break as Johnny Taylor gets a great launch over Jacob Kaplan, and we're set to see what goes on as almost everybody is still out here on the track getting everybody settled in. And while we do that, we'll be right back as we have finally figured out how to get the SDK up here. So we'll be right back. Just bear with us for one quick moment. All right, so far, yeah, we may or may not be able to get the SDK up and going, but nonetheless, it is Matty Clark up here in the race lead. Johnny Taylor has fell back down to P number 3. Not sure what has happened to the number 3 machine of Johnny Taylor, but nonetheless, still holding on strong to that P number 3 is Jacob Kaplan, still sitting P number 2.
Yeah, Kaplan looks like he was taking a run at the lead for a second there. Of course, did get by the 3 car. Now eyeing up Matty D. Clark. But you wonder now if Johnny Taylor is just, if he's saving now, if he does have questions about whether he's going to make it to the end on fuel or if he's trying to save tires. As you see Robert Lawrence get by to the inside back there and move the 3 car back to 4th place. Oh, Lawrence is sideways. Saves it, but down to the apron on the front stretch. And spoke a little too soon there. Move Lawrence back to P4. And Johnny Taylor in the 3 car back to P3. But it makes me wonder, as strong as that car has been all day long, if he's just trying to save here and try to have something for the finish. And Matty D. Clark and Jacob
Oh,
Kaplan
look at
feel
this.
like they're
Down
good
to the
go.
inside. Jacob Kaplan to the race lead.
What a power move.
Absolute power move, and I think maybe Matty Clark just let him have it. Doesn't want to burn up his tires this early on. But look at Jacob Kaplan making his way to the front and doesn't want to look back, leading for the first time this race on lap number 340, as he gets credited for leading one lap here at Rockingham.
Yeah, I felt like that was just a matter of time. I don't know about you, Dylan, but that 44 car has really come on in the second half of this race. And not surprised to see Jacob Kaplan up at the front there. Thought he would have to pass Johnny Taylor to get there. But good to see him up front. He's been fast here, especially the second half of the race. So we'll see if he's got enough left in those tires and in that fuel tank to make it to the end here and stay out front.
Yeah, going to do what he possibly can to make it happen, as he's starting to pull away from Matty D. Clark, as the 99 went off track and came back on the track there. Maybe he got a little bit loose coming off the corner there, but nonetheless, we're still green. 343 laps out of 393, so 50 laps to go here at Rockingham.
It looks like Kaplan is stretching that gap now. Got a half a second on the 31 car there. Clark. Taylor sitting back there fighting with Lawrence a little bit. Looks like Lawrence wants by, but not quite enough to abuse his tires to get it done here. It looks like both of those RCR cars sitting third and fourth right now are pretty content to run behind their teammate in second there and let the last 50 laps of this race come to them.
Yeah, you see their top 7 on the lead lap. Justin Cope, Mark Sikochi, and Daniel Molnix all on the lead lap. Mark Thomas 4 laps down. And then the last car on the field is the number 49. He's the only other car out here. So started off with 20 cars and only 9 cars all in total out here on the racetrack. So it is definitely something that could it's definitely going to be something that could it's going to be a numbers game here, as Daytona, we had a few people pack up and go to the next race here, and now we've seen that field size dwindle down to who were able to keep that car clean.
Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of this race. Definitely, this is a track that you have to race the track as much as you race your competitors, if not more so. And you see the attrition over the length of a race that's full length like this, a race this long. Here we are, almost 350 laps into it, and more than half the field has been taken out. How about a shout out for your Muffin Man, though? 4 laps down, but even after his wreck, he is back in the lucky dog position and in position for a top 10, sitting 8th right now. So if another caution comes out, he's going to get himself another lap back and still be sitting in that same position. But a nice recovery for that 12 car Mark Thomas in this race. Certainly not quite the race he was looking for, but barring that one mistake, you think he'd be right back in this thing for sure.
And look at that. You got the top 5 under a blanket. That lead that Jacob Kaplan had is now gone. Matty Clark and Johnny Taylor, along with Robert Lawrence and Justin Cope, all gunning for that number 44 machine, trying to pull away. He's doing it now. The 3 and the 31 side by side down the front stretch. Here comes the 07 down to the inside, and not going to be able to get there. Almost made contact with the rear bumper of the number 31. Behind the 07, you got the 28 of Justin Cope. Everybody single file through 3 and 4. What can Jacob Kaplan do? He's got Johnny Taylor right behind him. Wants to hold that number 3 off because look at that run that Johnny Taylor got going down the front stretch, and he's going to be right on that back bumper.
Yeah, we were just talking about it. Was Taylor trying to save? Was he saving tires for the long run? You saw especially that 31 car, Matty D. Clark has had a short run car all race long. Now is where you see the long run cars starting to come in here. Cars like the 3 and the 07. As Johnny Taylor looks to the inside there of Jacob Kaplan. Kaplan's going to have the run off of turn 2 though, and he's clear again for now.
Yeah, he's clear for now, but look at this. Side by side, 2 rows deep, 2 RCR. Oh, Robert Lawrence hard on the wall on the outside, able to keep it straight and keep it in P number 5. Or actually, excuse me, he lost 1 position from doing so. But that's going to allow Mark Sikochi and the 2 get back up here as Robert Lawrence able to get back around that number 28 machine on the outside who was loose coming out of turn number 2. The 8 and 2 following right behind them to see what can happen. Johnny Taylor and the 44 side by side going into turn number 1 and 2. Looked like Johnny Taylor had the advantage, but the outside is going to have the momentum. Can Jacob make it stick? He did. Johnny Taylor still not clear. And that's going to open up the door.
Off of 4 here.
Yeah, I think I think right there, Jacob thought, okay, look, if I race him too hard, I'm going to burn off my tires. I'm not going to have the great run at the end of the race. Now a little bit of a crossover. Put Johnny Taylor up on the outside. Put, Kaplan on the inside. Matty Clark get a little bit loose coming off turn number 2. Want to say thank you to all the viewers out there sticking around through this race. We are currently on lap 357 out of 393. And Caleb, I know your voice is starting to go away. I know mine is. But nonetheless, still a fun one to watch here. As we're going to go ahead and cut to a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. All right, yeah, so not sure. I thought I tried it one more time, ladies and gentlemen, was not able to get it up there. But nonetheless, we are under pit, or we're back under, oh yeah, well, nope, it didn't catch the caution there, so not sure exactly what happened. Is, me being me, trying to get the SDK to come back up again and just failing miserably.
More technical difficulties. I can tell you, I'm not sure what race control was going to rule on that, but from my perspective, it looked like the 2 was coming high. Molnix was up on the high side of the track through 1 and 2. and Sikochi in the 8 car was down on the low side, and looked like Sikochi kind of pushed up and got tight, and the 2 was on him faster than he expected, got into the back, lifted the back end of the 8 car up, and both of them wound up around and in the wall. Some extra time in the pits for each of them. Looks like they've probably got that pretty well patched up. Neither of them looking too bad right now. And looks like we're going to have, what do you think, Dylan, about 30 laps to go? Whenever we take the green flag, this is a short run to the finish. All after all this time, 360 plus laps, it's all going to come down to a short run for a winner-take-all showdown here.
Yeah, it's going to come back to 30 laps to go here tonight. And, you know, if you had to pick, I know the field is light. Give me a dark horse and give me an underdog. Out of Johnny Taylor, Jacob Kaplan, Matty Clark, Robert Lawrence, Justin Cope, Daniel Molnix, and Mark Sikochi, those are all the drivers on the lead lap. Who you got as a favorite and a dark horse?
I think the favorite has got to be that 3 car, Johnny Taylor. Just been the class of the field all race long. Now, we did see that last run definitely wasn't as fast to start. Now, that may have very well been by design. It might have been the 3 car just planning on a long run. And it certainly did come back to him before we got to this caution. He's back in the lead here again. But I think that's been the fastest car all race long. The only guy that might have something for him here on the short run, I would say, would be probably Jacob Kaplan. That 44 car on the outside has been really fast on the short run. He might have something for him here.
You know, favorite, gotta go with Johnny Taylor. Like you said, class of the field. But my dark horse, I'm taking that number 31. I have
also
a feeling
fast on the short runs here for sure.
Yeah, this could be considered a short run, but it is going to be Johnny Taylor leading these gentlemen to the green flag, hopefully for the final time tonight. He's going to get a great run, and Jacob Kaplan spins the tires.
Around.
Oh, no, we're going to have another caution, as that was not a good restart by these drivers. We're going to go ahead and cut back to a quick CRN replay here. It is in slow motion as of right now. Actually, we're going to play it in the whole thing here. And, overcorrected and just got sent around. And that's our first caution that was caused by a restart. So, to go 364 laps without a caution like that, that is impressive.
Yeah, very impressive. And I think it also shows that I feel like these guys have been at about 95% on the restarts all race long. They just tried to turn it up to 100, and Justin Cope took it to about 103 there. And just got a little too much on that throttle pedal. Spun it around, though. Did a good job of keeping it out of everybody's way, though. Daniel Molnix did a good job of crash avoidance there. And everybody is still got clean cars here. We're going to rack them up and go for another one and see if we can keep it straight here. One guy that it did affect pretty seriously, though, there was that 44 car. I believe he's going to be starting 4th because he also spun the tires on the outside there. So I think that's going to put Matty D. Clark outside front row and Robert Lawrence second row inside here. So now here's my question for you, Dylan. You've been watching these restarts, and the bottom has been getting such a big jump over the outside. Would you rather be in that 31 coming to this restart here outside front row, or would you rather be the 7 down on the inside but back there in the second row? Which would you want to be in this situation?
So in this situation right here, so if you remember I forget what season it was for the core vintage, I restarted 3rd, and coming green white checkered, I went from 3rd to 1st before turn 2. So if I was in this race, I'd want to be in third place down on that inside because, one, you can time perfectly when that leader is going. So when you have that leader going like that, you're going to get a better run. Granted, the top three right now are nothing but RCR cars. But, in Core, we didn't have Core doesn't have teams like that. Yeah, we have our little cliques, like Rays, me, you, and doing it all that or whatever, and we have that. But nonetheless, no matter what, it's always you want to be down on the inside because, one, you can kind of wheel and deal the car all the way through the corner. Now, when we did the 87s, it's all fixed setups, so you could do that. But in these open setup cars, you don't really want to stay on the gas too long and force your car into a bad position to where either A, you can get loose and spin yourself out, take out half the field, or the rest of the field in this case. Or, you just overdrive it and get tight and slide up into somebody and get them loose. So, I'm still saying I'm going to be that 07 down on the inside.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Just the way that the inside has been getting great restarts here. Now, I think you're right. Teammates or no teammates, we're getting down. The pay window's open here. If I'm the 3 car, I'm not counting down this restart for anybody. But honestly, I think that just puts the 31 at a bigger disadvantage and the 07 at a slightly better advantage over him at this point. Because you're right there, you can stay right on the bumper of that 3 car, and he'll probably go just a split second before the 31, I would think.
Yeah, well, knowing Johnny Taylor, he's always going to count it down. That's how EPI drivers do it. They count down all the way to the green, white, checkered. But nonetheless, pace car is going to take that dive down. Can Jacob Kaplan get a better restart than he did last time? There he goes, but look at that. Matty Clark did not get a good restart. Daniel Molnick's making his name present here down to the inside. And look at that. Robert Lawrence making that inside work, and that's what I was talking about, being that inside car. He's moved up from third all the way up to P number 2. Here comes Jacob Kaplan. He's stuck behind 2 RCR cars. They're thinking about going 3 wide, thought better of it. But look at Mark Sikochi. He's putting his name out here in the hat. And now we are down under 30 laps to go here at Rockingham.
Well, I don't believe you, Dylan. I don't think Johnny Taylor counted that restart down at all. Look at the jump he got. But regardless, he is just saying, all right, you guys just keep on racing out here, because he's just spreading that lead. That 31 car now in the clean air, though, we know how fast that 31 has been on the short runs here, and Matty D. Clark is going to try with everything he's got to run that 3 car down and try to get the win in this thing as we come right down to it here.
Yeah, not sure what happened, but the 2 of Daniel Molnick's down a pit lane. Not sure what happened to that number 2.
I believe that was a pass-through penalty, just what I could gather from the radio. I think he wound up having to serve a pass-through penalty for that last incident.
Oh, no.
With the 8 car. So I think that's what brought the 2 car down to the pits on that one.
Oh, no. Championship implications. My favorite thing to say when, you lose a championship by 2 points. No championship implications. Nonetheless, though, it is a RCR 1-2. Jacob Kaplan holding off the late charge from Mark Sikochi in P number 3, but here comes Robert Lawrence trying to get his way up there. 20 laps to go here at Rockingham, and Mark Sikochi has gotten that DEI number 8 machine dialed up here. Was a couple laps down earlier in the race, got back on the lead lap, and is now running P number 4.
Yeah, shoot, he was just backwards in the wall just a few laps ago, and came down to the pits, got that damage patched up. She's running fine now, no problems whatsoever. It doesn't seem like in that 8 car, other than maybe the 07 of Robert Lawrence tight to his bumper there and trying to get by.
Yeah, try to do what he possibly can. Robert Lawrence all over that back bumper, going to look low. Robert Lawrence looking to take that P number 4 away from Mark Sikochi. Mark Sikochi on the outside, Robert Lawrence on the inside. Who's going to have the advantage coming off 4? It's going to be neck and neck. So far, give it to Mark Sikochi. Robert Lawrence diving it down into turn number 1 and 2, trying to get a better launch into the corner. It's going to be Robert Lawrence. Now it's going to be Mark Sikochi. A little bit loosey-goosey for the number 07 machine.
Yeah, you see just how difficult it is to get the power down on the inside. It's so bumpy down there on the inside of 1 and 2, and trying to get the power down while you got somebody to your outside there on exit. He is getting all he can. Is the 2 going to take it 3 wide? Not quite. Thought better of it.
Oh, the 28 and 2 got together just a little bit, able to keep it straight, as the 2 doesn't want to have another caution caused on him. I believe he's going to have to park it if that happens. But so far it is Johnny Taylor up to the race lead, and he's starting to pull away from the number 31 of Matty D. Clark.
Yeah, looks like I'm seeing a 1.2 second lead right now, 1.3 now, and it was just a couple laps ago, just 0.8 of a second. That 31 car has been fast on the short runs, but I just don't think he's any match.
Oh, the 2 got in the back of the... Oh, there's going to be a caution as the 2 gets into the 07, checks him up, and that's going to take out Daniel Mulnix and the 28. And that's something that you hate to see. We're going to go ahead and slow it down here. Hopefully get a better camera angle. There it is. You're going to see here on the CRN replay. Daniel Mulnix down to the inside. Going to overdrive it just a little bit. Tag the 07. He's going to brake check. The 28 going to lift him all the way up in the air. Send him on around. He's going to nose it into the wall. And he's going to come back down the track. What does Justin Cope do?
Look at that save from the 07. Lawrence down on the apron and still saving that thing.
Yeah, he... Save of the race goes to that number 07 machine, as, you know, he did what he possibly could to get it going there. And, you know, everybody is down at pit lane. But the number 8. The number 8 of Mark Sikochi stays out. 10 laps to go when we decide our winner. Can Mark Sikochi hold off the field? Everybody went down pit lane. And if I'm Mark Sikochi, you just made your bed. Now you got to lie in it.
Oh yeah, I think so. You made your bed, like you said, but it is wow. I would not be feeling too good if I was Mark right now. On the other hand, you know, there's only 6 cars on the lead lap, so what's the worst case scenario? You wind up 6, which is about where you were running anyways. But man, old tires on this track. The wolves are growling out the door, and Sikochi is going to come in now. So I guess he didn't want to lie in his bed, Dylan. He decided it's not a good bed. I'm not lying in it. I'm going to go to the store. I'm going to pick up another bed. We're going to go lie in that bed because this bed stinks. And it's got bed bugs in it, and I don't like it. So Sikochi going to start at the back of the lead lap cars here. With fresh rubber. Honestly, though, I wouldn't want to lie in that bed either. That bed was pretty nasty looking.
Yeah, or maybe, you know, Mark Sikochi doing a little bit of an Abi Vishuvasam, you know, grabbing the race lead and, you know, just leading that lap, getting that bonus point, because I believe they do the old style NASCAR points. Leading a lap, best lap, fastest lap, or, well, fastest lap is the best lap. In most laps led gets you a bonus point, and Johnny Taylor's got that most laps led wrapped up, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. And again, only 6 cars on the lead lap, so 8 cars going to start outside I guess he'll be outside third row here. 4 tires. Yeah, that's worth a bonus point, I'd say. That's not a bad call.
Yeah, definitely not a bad call whatsoever. As we are down to 11 drivers still out here racing with us tonight. As everybody was able to get their damage fixed, that was able to do it. And now they're out here running laps with us. Looking in the chat now, we got Alicia Kaplan, Margie Murphy, and Dave Kaplan all voting for the number 44 to get it done, saying they have family down in Florida watching the race to see.
Well, I think he's in a pretty good spot here. Second row down on that inside. He's going to try to jump the start, it looks like here.
Yeah, maybe.
Time it out.
I mean, look how close that Robert Lawrence is on the back bumper of Matty D. Clark. He's got to make sure that Matty D. Clark gets a good jump before he can go. And there they go. We're back to racing. 10 laps to go here. Oh, no. Jacob Kaplan! The broadcaster's curse. No! That's going to cause a caution. Luckily for Jacob Kaplan, the caution came out for that driver. And we're going to go ahead and go back to a CRN replay. So
yeah,
look at here.
Kaplan wasn't the only one to spin. I think you'll see the 8 cars spun his tires too. Yep.
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
So two drivers going on around, and it looks like he's got a shovel on the front of that number 44.
Yeah, that's some pretty significant damage to the nose, but I think you'll be able to get most of that patched up. It's probably all
cosmetic.
Yeah, I don't think it did. I don't think he hit the wall hard enough to do any real damage to the engine components and radiator and so forth. So I imagine he'll still be idling good. He'll still be under power, full power on that car. So I don't think he's out of it just yet.
Oh no! And then he spins it out going into pit lane.
I wish I could say I didn't know the feeling, but I do.
I would know the feeling.
Yep. That's happened to everybody, I think, in iRacing at some point in time. That's rough. But again, if it's going to happen,
might as well have it happen.
6 cars on the lead lap, right?
Yeah, exactly. Might as well let it happen on a caution lap too. You know, everybody's under pace. You're not going to lose a lap. And let's just look and see here. Yeah, he's going to take tires. Again, they do get unlimited tire sets. We're going to take a look here, see what that front end gets fixed. You're going to see that nose pop out at you. If it does, it's currently...
He's got time. They're on the front stretch now. Pace car's coming around. He's going to take all the damage he can.
And there it goes.
He's going to have to leave your
That car is completely repaired. Yeah, that car is completely repaired. May look a little concaved, but nonetheless.
But
it's completely full.
There it is.
It's completely fixed.
Wow. How's that for timing? Because remember, he can't see what we're seeing from inside the car. He doesn't know how much that damage is repaired. He's just got a clock that he's looking at that says you have this much optional damage to repair, and he's going to take as much as he can on that clock before the field comes around so that he can stay on the lead lap. And it turned out he got just enough before the pace car came around. He's going to stay on the lead lap here. Looks like start P7. Got a fast Hot Wheels car underneath of him. He'll be making some hay towards the front here for sure.
Yeah, I believe he's going to be able to get around the lap traffic. As, look at that number 99. He was severely damaged, and that car pretty much looks brand new. He's got a little bit of damage on that rear, but the front end looks completely brand new.
It does, and he's still at it. One of, what'd you say, 11 cars still on track at this point. Yep. And looks like how many laps is that? 66 laps down there, but
It's either
still on track.
24 or 66. It's one of the two.
A lot of laps down. A lot of laps down, but still hanging on. Yeah, good job, 99 car. Hanging in there, and he's going to come out of this with, honestly, a pretty good points day.
Yeah, it's still going to be a good points day no matter what he stayed in and got it going on.
And honestly, it looks like he will probably even gain a position yet, because he's still, if my scoring is right, he's still 5 laps behind Stoney Benfield. So it looks like he'll actually wind up P11 when this is all said and done.
Yeah, looking to see. Yeah, I don't know how many laps he's down, but we are back to racing here. Everybody gets a great start that time by. Matty D. Clark got caught sleeping on the steering wheel there. Now it's an RCR 1, 2, 3 as we have 8 laps to go. No, actually, no. We're less than 8 laps to go. I apologize. About 5 laps to go.
Math is hard.
It's been a long day. Okay.
Well, I bet you the driver of that 31 car knows exactly how many laps we have to go. Matty D. Clark is throwing everything he has at Johnny Taylor here. And don't look now, but he's about to have an 07 breathing down his neck while he's at it.
Yeah, and with it being these 3 in the top 3, do you push to make the race win, or do you just follow your teammates? 3 laps to go here, as Robert Lawrence has set the fastest time here tonight with a 23.662.
Now, is he going to look to the inside of the 31? He's going to look to the outside here, see if he can get a run off.
Oh, Matty Clark hits the apron. Matty Clark down to the inside. He did not hit the wall, but that's going to cause a caution, as we are back under caution, and things just got interesting.
Good save there from Matty Clark to avoid hitting the inside wall. That car is still in mint condition, despite a drift all the way around turn 4, basically. You can see he's already loose at that point. He's trying to save it down on the apron. He's even looser now. We're looking at the inside wall. There's a lot of oh crap sirens going off.
And he never locked up the brakes. Never.
And look at that. Feet off the wall.
Yeah.
Excellent job saving that car.
A lot of these drivers did slam on the brakes to get those tires locked down. Not Matty D. No, sir. Matty D kept the wheels a-turning to not have them smack that inside wall. And if you haven't got your popcorn yet, ladies and gentlemen, right now would be the time, because it's the final countdown. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to see a lot of haymakers being thrown here on these last final 2 laps.
Yeah, what more could you ask for? We're gonna have us a green-white checkered here. It looks like 5 minutes to midnight Rockingham time, and Johnny Taylor leading the field. Robert Lawrence has been fast all day. He's been the only guy on the long run that had anything for Johnny Taylor. Now he's going to try to give him a run for it on the short run. And, oh, by the way, Justin Cope, Matty D. Clark, Jacob Kaplan, they're all still in this thing. Daniel Molnix is back on the lead lap. Sikochi in that 8 car, he was spinning just a few laps ago. He's back on the lead lap. All it takes is one wrong move, and this could be anybody's race.
Yeah, Mark Sikochi was the only one to pit that caution, but I believe the 31 is going to be dealt the EOL, so he's going to have to get in line where you fit in, and that's going to play dividends to Mr. Matty Clark here on this green white checkered.
So 3 car taking the inside once again. We know how good he's been restarting there on that inside line. You're going to have the 07 outside. The 28 is going to be second row inside. And it looks like the 31 is still running like he's going to be fourth.
He's keeping it low just in case if he does get that dreaded EOL, and that could take him out of a potential P3 run there. If he does get the EOL, he's going to have to get around all the lap traffic, get around Molnick, Sokochi, and Kaplan, and Cope just to get that top 3. But I don't think they're going to give him the EOL, as already it should have been taken care of. But so far, it is a RCR front row, and it looks like, yeah, Matty Clark not getting the EOL, so he's still in contention for this win.
Yeah, you bet, especially with the short run pace that 31 car has had. Oh, now he is dropping back. Okay.
Oh, he
So
waited.
late call from the booth there. He will get that EOL. So he'll have to start at the tail end of the line. But again, I mean, he's still on the lead lap here. And all it takes is one car spinning his tires and somebody else getting collected, or one car getting loose in the turn here.
Do you want to see somebody driving like a madman? You're about to see Matty Clark drive like
Yes,
a madman.
you are.
He's going to be driving like a pissed off teenager all the way up back here to the front. Can't really watch him, as we got to watch the leaders come around to take the final green. And I think we need to check on Barney here. He's got the green flag, so Barney's awake. Barney is awake for this. Yeah,
Barney is always awake. Barney never takes a day off.
Coming back to the final green-white checkered here, Johnny Taylor off to the races they go. Johnny Taylor going to lead these guys down into turn number 1 and 2, and he's going to clear everybody. And what did I say? Matty Clark driving like a PO teenager. Already getting around the number 43, down in front of the number 12. And Matty Clark trying to make his way up here. But it is Cope trying to get around that number 07, not able to do so. But here comes the number 2 machine trying to get around. Oh, look at the big dive by the number 44, trying to keep that 2 behind him. He's going to have the run. What does he have for the number 28? The 28 going to look down to the inside of the number 07. 07 is going to look to the outside of the 3, but it's going to be
07's going to have a run.
Oh,
it's
07
not
going to get.
enough.
Oh, it's Jacob Kaplan comes home P number 3.
Wow, what a finish.
What a finish. Oh my God, Johnny Taylor.
Justin Cope was giving it all he had on the exit there, as was Robert Lawrence. I thought Lawrence was going to win it there. He had such a run on exit. You said he had the fastest lap of the race. He might have even broken that record there on that last lap. He was flying around turn 4.
Yeah, we got to watch this final lap coming off of the corner here. There it is. You see them all getting loose. Robert Lawrence dirt tracking, Jacob Kaplan dirt tracking, Molnick's dirt tracking. And it's going to be Molnick's coming back to finish 5th. Cope finishing 4th, Kaplan finishing 3rd, Lawrence 2nd, and Johnny Taylor picking up the 2nd win of the season. While that is going on, we're going to go ahead and let Johnny Taylor do a little bit of burnout here before we get our final, or our top 3 into the broadcast booth. And that was just absolutely amazing driving by everybody out here tonight.
Yeah, fantastic finish. Johnny Taylor was certainly the class of the field all night, but at the end of the night, it didn't come down to a long run that he was so good at all race long. Came down to a short run, a few cautions there at the end, and still wound up coming out on top. Heck of a race from everybody out there tonight to finish strong. Sideways across the finish line. You couldn't ask for a much more exciting finish at the end of nearly 400 laps than what we got right there, for sure.
Yeah, that was absolutely beautiful. But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and grab our third place finisher. That's going to be the number 44 of Jacob Kaplan. And Jacob, this is Dylan and Caleb in the booth. You got a copy.
Yes, I got you loud and clear.
All right, buddy. You had a lot of fans out there in the YouTube chat try to talk to you there earlier in the race just to let your parents hear your voice and give them a little bit of a shout out. But I know the attention was on the racetrack at the due time. But, dude, you finished third. How did you manage to keep your car straight coming off of turn number 4 and snag that P3 away from Justin Cope?
Well, first off, earlier in the race when you guys tried to interview me, I did hear you with like 80 to go. For some reason, my Discord acted up and you couldn't hear me. So sorry about that. Second off, hello to my mom and dad who are watching, and I'd like to give a shout out to my wife who is also watching. So hello, Margie. And to answer your question, I don't know how I survived that wreck on the final lap, and I don't know how I kept it straight, but I'm glad I did because I get to talk to you guys now.
I mean, you had the car on the long runs. It seemed like, well, actually, the first part of the race, you wanted to be conservative. It was a long, grueling race. You practiced your patience to a T, were able to keep it up there towards the front. And it just seemed like Johnny Taylor and Robert Lawrence and Matty Clark and Stoney Benfield and all those other drivers had the longer pace than what you had. But towards the end there, we seen that number 44 come alive.
Yeah, the first half of the race was an absolute disaster for me. My car was so loose, I couldn't even go full throttle. I would if I went full throttle on the straights, I was about to turn, so I had to go slow. So speaking of that, I'd like to give a shout out to my teammate Shane in the 43 car who helped me with the adjustment. And boy, was my car fast that second half after I made those adjustments. Got my car tight and I was fast, as you could tell. It just sucks that I ran out of talent with like 10 laps to go because I thought I had a chance of winning there, but it's okay. I'm not going to complain about a third.
Yeah, I mean, with the restarts being the way that they were, you can't really say that you ran out of talent there on that restart. I've had that happen to me, whether it was a next gen, Gen 6, 87, any kind of car that you take to Rockingham, the restarts are atrocious to get through there. But now we're going to focus our mission to next week. What's your thought process and your plan going into next week?
Yeah, you're right about the restarts, but I was just trying so hard to get around that 3 car, but it's okay. Anyway, I don't know. I'm just going to try to stay focused in Vegas and, be patient, and hopefully I'll be up there for a win.
All right, Jacob, before we let you get on out of here, I know you gave a couple of shout outs earlier. Before we let you get on out of here, is there anybody else you want to give a shout out to on that number 44 machine?
Yeah, my teammate Shane Weldon in the 43 for sure, because he helped me make the adjustment. And I would also like to give a shout out to the 35 car Alex Encarnacio, because he's the one that actually gave me my setup today. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even have competed for a top 5.
All right, Jacob, we're going to go ahead and let you go down, enjoy that third place victory here tonight, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week.
Yeah, hopefully. Thanks, guys.
Yep. All right, that was our third place finisher of Jacob Kaplan. We're going to go ahead and move on to our second place finisher. That's going to be Robert Lawrence. I'm going to go ahead and move him on up in here. And Robert, this is Dylan and Caleb in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, Caleb, I did third place. I'm going to go ahead and let you get ready to do the rubber toe. And Caleb, you can go ahead and take this one away.
Dylan's voice is tired after almost 400 laps. Hey, Robert, fantastic finish, man. I really thought you were about to sneak that win away as you were drifting out of turn 4. Tell us about your approach to this race and how you were so strong out there tonight.
Well, I knew tonight was going to be a big thing about just survival, saving those tires, kind of pacing yourself pace yourself to the track versus pacing yourself off everyone else. So somehow I managed to pace myself faster in most of the field, a good chunk of the race. So I don't know how I did that, but somehow managed to, keep myself clean for the most part. I really struggled at one stint. I was bouncing off the wall like it was it was something to go after. But
that's the last of the swear jar.
My bad. And but it was a good race. I was just glad we were able to keep it up front most of the race. Congratulations to Johnny, and yeah.
Yeah, talk about did the track change much, or did you have to change much with your driving or setup? You definitely dominated that first stage of the race, but looked from our perspective like the track was taking quite a bit of rubber as it went along there. Did you have to adjust a whole lot?
Oh yeah, I tried adjusting to it, and it just went the exact opposite way of what I wanted to. At one point, I burned that right front off. That stint that I was bouncing off the wall, I burned the right front off of it to the point that she was in the teens on the percentage-wise. So she was rather unhappy about that adjustment. So I went back to what it came with, and it worked out at the end. It was quick. But yeah, the track dropped all of, I think at one point it was 115 degrees, and now it's down to 95. So that's a big swing.
Yeah, and speaking of big swings, that was a big swing coming out of turn 4. Did you think you were going to grab that win?
Oh, I was giving it all she had. That was for sure. Turn 1 and 2, I sent it in deeper than I had the entire race. It somehow hooked, and I was coming with a head of steam down the back stretch, and I then sent it deeper than I had the whole race, deeper than I did qualifying into 3 and 4. It hooked almost all of it. And then, yeah, I was swatting flies off 4, just trying to keep it straight.
Well, it sure made for a heck of a show and a great finish, Robert. Way to run here at Rockingham. Looking forward to hopefully getting to talk to you next week.
I hope so. I appreciate it.
Well, in regards to Eli Childs, got to give it the beans.
The beans were given, just I came up one bean too short. But thank you guys.
All right. Well, before we let you get on out of here, Robert, is there anybody want to give a shout out to on that number 07 machine?
We gotta give a massive shout out to Michael Conti over at EPI. Gotta thank him for giving us the base to really work off of. I know he puts a decent amount of time and effort into these, so we really appreciate it. Really hope that at some point this can go official, have an open Gen 4 official race. That would be amazing. I think that would that would be an amazing addition to the NASCAR side of things on iRacing. So if that can if that can happen, that's even better for him. So, but like I said, thank you EPI, and thank you Johnny Taylor and Maddie and Brian Whitney, who's also on the team. We all got to work together and make these things better. So, yeah, I thank all of them.
All right, Robert, we're going to go ahead and let you go back down there. Hang out with your teammates until we get done with your other teammate, and then you guys can celebrate that 1-2 finish. But nonetheless, great race here tonight. We'll be talking to you again next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right, that's going to be your second place finisher of Robert Lawrence. We're going to go ahead and grab our winner here tonight. That's going to be the number 3 of Johnny. It wasn't me, Taylor. And Johnny, this is Dylan and Caleb in the booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
All right, Johnny, I don't know what you're doing out there, but you need to calm down. You won Daytona last week. You come out here, and you didn't put down a qualifying time. You started from the back. You gained, let me see here, you were up 17 positions from where you started. Just kind of walk me through what you did to pace yourself the way that you did and get through the field so quickly to capture your second win of the season.
You just got to pace yourself and keep the tires on it, maintain the car. I mean, EPI and Conti there had a pretty good setup, a good base, and we worked off of it and tweaked off of that, and it was pretty solid. Had a good race.
Yeah, if I had to think of any driver that was absolutely flawless all night, it would be you. I didn't see you hit the wall. I didn't see you get into any contact with any other driver other than early in the race. Other than that, your car was absolutely flawless. No scratches, no dents after you got that damage fixed. Now we go to Vegas next week. Are you looking forward to it, or is that just going to be another one where you're going to start from the back and work your way to the front?
Vegas should be fun. We'll see how it plays out once we get there.
All right, Johnny, before we let you get out of here, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to on that number 3 machine?
I'd like to give a shout out to Mark and the boys for putting on the league, and you guys for the broadcast. EPI and Conti for putting out some fast setups. Go to epi.com for all your setup needs. Yeah, that's about it.
All right, Johnny, we're going to go ahead and let you get back up there with your teammate, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again next week.
Yeah, good luck, buddy. Have a good one.
You as well, bud. All right, that's going to do it for the broadcast here tonight. As make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night, as I will be back in the broadcast booth for the Legends, the Ford Coupe Legends at Lime Rock Park for the Core Premier Series. As I'm going to have Robbie DeVore in the broadcast booth with me tomorrow night at about 9:30 Eastern for the Core Premier Series. Monday night, you're going to see Carl in the broadcast booth for the Core GT Series on Monday night. Tuesday night, you're going to have Ricky, John Nobinger, and Caleb Collins all in the broadcast booth. As Caleb, you're not going to run the truck series, but you're going to run the Arcus cars. So we're going to see those 3 gentlemen in the broadcast booth, as I'm going to be down on track with those gentlemen in the ARCA and truck series. So make sure you guys tune in on that on Tuesday night. Wednesday, you're going to have myself in the broadcast booth for Shane's Super Late Model Showdown as I get ready to tackle race number 3 at Nashville Fairgrounds in the Super Late Models. There is no broadcast on Thursday night, but Friday night you're going to be back here on a CRN with Red Line Racing with Carl Handwerk and Mark Thomas as they get ready to do battle on their season in the Gen 4 cars. And then Saturday, you're going to have myself and hopefully Ricky Gonzalez back in the broadcast booth. Or if Ricky doesn't come back, then I'm going to have Caleb Collins up here with me next week as the NSR goes to the cookie cutter D-shaped oval of Las Vegas. And then back here on Sunday night, you're going to have the Core Premier Series as they get ready to do the final round of the first round of the playoffs in the Core Premier Series. I want to thank everybody that stayed up late with CRN to watch this amazing race happen. I want to thank everybody that has liked, shared, subscribed to CRN. Make sure you guys hit that bell notification, turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything that CRN has to offer. This has been a fun producing broadcast, anything with the NSR. But without further ado, this has been Dylan McDonald and Caleb Collins in the broadcast booth for CRN. Make sure you guys take care. Brush your hair.